So I have a few stories to get to. Let's start with the box office real quick. Civil War won the North American box office for a second week in a row. The epic from Alex Garland managed to take in $11.1 million this time around. Behind it was the vampire flick Abigail.
I want to see that.
Yeah, debuted second place. Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, took third. Guy Ritchie's action movie about taking down the Nazis, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, came in at fourth place. And rounding out the top five was the anime Spy X Family Code White. So that was the movement at the box office this weekend. I'm going to start with a couple of Philly stories.
Yes.
Philly-based stories. So Philadelphia drag queen Safira Crystal fell just short of the title on America's Next Drag Superstar Friday night, placing second on season 16 of RuPaul's Drag Place. But still, a nice finish.
Nothing to sneeze at.
And she was crowned Miss Congeniality as well, alongside New York City's Zumani Muse. The prize, which recognizes the kindest competitor, comes with $10,000 on top of the $25,000 for Crystal's second place finish. Crystal was bested by New York City's Nymphia Wind in a lip sync performance. Crystal did knock out Boston bombshell Plain Jane. Crystal, who actually grew up in Houston, but is the first contestant to rep Philly on the show, is the first queen in Drag Race history to win 3 main challenges in a row.
It still blows my mind that it is the 16th season of Drag Race.
Yeah.
And cleans up at the Emmys.
Yeah, she's also the first contestant to win the mini challenge, main challenge, lip sync battle, all in a single episode. A mainstay of Fishtown Cabaret Fabrica, Crystal is a classically trained opera singer and self-proclaimed stunt queen who moved to Philly in 2014 after performing on stages up and down the Northeast. And this moment was years in the making for Crystal, who had auditioned for RuPaul's Drag Race 11 times.
Wow.
Before making it onto the show.
I would like to see RuPaul do RuPaul's Drag MMA.
Would that not? I'm sure
the
that
lashes flying.
You would have to watch that.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So the second Philly-related story has to do with a Philly native son, Kevin Bacon, and Footloose. He returned to Payson High School, the Utah location where his iconic 1984 movie was filmed, this past Saturday, to celebrate the educational institution's final prom before the school is demolished and moved to a different location.
Yeah.
So it's great. We had talked about this in the past. And during his visit, he sat in a director's chair emblazoned with Mr. Bacon on it. He toured the high school where he filmed his breakout role, posed for selfies, signed shirts, and memorabilia, noting how it's the 40th anniversary since Footloose was released. Kevin told those in attendance at the event, it's been 40 years. He said, I mean, this just blows my mind. Things look a little different around here, and I'd say the thing that looks the most different is me. Students tried to get him to stop by in celebration of Footloose's milestone anniversary by performing flash mobs after school and launching a social media campaign, which was called Bacon to Payson. And last month, the Today Show came to the school and shared a video with students in which Kevin revealed that he was impressed by their campaign and announced, yeah, I'm going to come there.
Do we have the audio clip of him revealing a little, everything was sort of brought into focus to him during the visit?
Yeah.
Yes. So standing before the Payson community over the weekend, he said, when I first heard about this Bacon to Payson thing, I thought, wow, this is crazy. But you were all tireless, unrelenting in your desire to have me return, and you talked me into it. I think it's great to see that kind of commitment to anything. He also said, I also think it's amazing the power this movie has had to bring people together and connect on the basic ideas that are behind the movie of standing up to authority sometimes and to being forgiving of people who are not exactly the same as you, and for standing up for your own freedoms and your right to express yourself, and for having compassion for other people as well. So, yeah, one of the kids said something to him in the crowd. Here we go.
Well, one of the greatest things I heard today when I was on the tour was, a young woman said to me, my grandfather was in school here when you were doing the movie. I went, what? Your grandfather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your kids? Did you show them Footloose? And if so, how did they react?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they've ever seen Footloose.
All right.
That's one that
I wonder if it would
might be a tad bit dated.
Yeah, dated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beckham was joined by his initiative 6degrees.org to assemble and distribute 5,000 essential resource kits to young people in need of resources throughout Utah, Colorado, and Nevada. More than 1,000 volunteers came to Payson High School football field, and together they facilitated more than $865,000 worth of product distribution. So that was cool. He said it was worth the trip. And he gave a send-off to the high schoolers attending the night's prom and said, be good to each other and don't forget to cut loose.
Of course. I wonder, some of the classic high schools used in movies, is the high school that was used in The Breakfast Club. Is that still around?
Shermer.
Yeah, it's not really Shermer
I
High
know,
School, but you know what? I've read a little bit about that school before, and I can't remember, Steve. It's still around. So many schools have, their facilities have become a little worn out, and they rebuild and they move on. So that's a good question. Nick's going to look that up right now.
And it closed well before filming. I'm sorry. So they closed it in May of '81.
Wow.
And then they used it for the interior scenes, Steve.
Wow.
And they also used it for Ferris Bueller.
Interesting.
Wait. So that school doesn't exist anymore?
I don't know, man. I'm just reading about it now.
It might be used as another facility. Sometimes they convert them.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah.
All right. Dick Van Dyke is vying for a historic daytime Emmy at the age of 98.
Jesus.
The actor was nominated Friday as guest performer in a daytime drama series for his part as amnesiac Timothy Robichaux on Peacock's Days of Our Lives. He is the oldest daytime Emmy nominee. Producer Norman Lear was 100 when he received his final primetime Emmy nomination in 2022. He died the year after that.
So Days of Our Lives is on Peacock?
I guess so, yeah. Among those Van Dyke's up against is Australian actor Guy Pearce for Amazon Freevee's Neighbors. Van Dyke has won 4 primetime Emmys, including 3 in the 1960s for his classic comedy series, The Dick Van Dyke Show. So he's trying to snag that.
It's pretty wild.
Pretty awesome.
98.
That is the case. A woman who stalked Harry Styles has been jailed and banned from seeing him perform. Mira Carvalho sent the singer 8,000 cards in less than a month.
Wow.
She was sentenced to 14 weeks imprisonment after pleading guilty to a stalking charge on Tuesday. A restraining order lasting for 10 years was also imposed on her, and she was told that she could not attend any events where Styles was performing.
Do you know who provided her lawyer?
No.
Hallmark.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
It's a ton.
Even if she just got the 99-cent
Right,
cards.
yeah.
That's $8,000 if she got the 99-cent ones.
You know, you don't do that when you're a stalker. You got to bring your A game.
Brazilian national Carvalho sent the 30-year-old singer handwritten letters while in the UK, as well as ordering a series of cards for him online, which were sent to his address.
Jeez.
Of the 8,000 cards sent, some were wedding cards, and 2 of the letters were hand-delivered to his address.
What was the last card you sent to anyone? Well, you actually took pen to card
I don't know.
and addressed an envelope and sent it out.
I always have ideas that it's a good idea to go ahead and do that, and I just never actually do it. You know what I did for a while there? There was an app that created a postcard out of your photo.
Yes.
And I would send them to my mom and sister from time to time. And so that was a few years ago. But that was kind of that version of it. I never actually had to physically write anything.
Do you subscribe to my notion that just the will to do it is as good as doing
It's
it?
as good as doing it alone.
It's not, though.
If you think about it,
You've done it.
Yeah. My mom, she's really good about sending cards for everybody's birthdays. And,
Yes. It's a wonderful thing.
But as a result, Steve, on her birthday and Christmas, she gets a ton of cards.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yep. So court documents show Carvalho had been staying in a backpacking hostel in West London after arriving in the UK. Her family did not know that she had traveled to the country, and she admitted a charge of stalking involving serious harm. Now, another stalking story, but not one that ends like that. Scarlett Johansson has reportedly been trying to get a restraining order against a guy named Michael Joseph Branham since November of last year, but a judge has dismissed her case.
You just call me MJB.
Michael apparently believes that he fathered one of Scarlett's children, Cosmo, and the actress says that she's been targeting him since 2022. ScarJo says that Michael had appeared outside of her home multiple times in November last year, and that a private investigator had found photos posted by the stalker where he posed outside her home. but lawyers apparently have not been able to actually serve papers to him, meaning that any restraining order in place had to be dismissed. So they can't find the guy.
The processors can't get to him.
Yeah. Scarlett welcomed her son Cosmo with comedian Colin Jost in 2021. Michael has apparently repeatedly said that he was the actual father.
And we're dismissing that, right?
And he has left letters. See, they all write letters. And a children's toy outside of the actress's home in the past.
Let's open up the mailbox and see what's here. It's a segment.
Yeah. It's wait, what were his initials? MJB's mailbox.
Letters to dear old Captain Stalker.
MJB's letters.
Well, look at this. This one's covered in semen.
Send your pictures to dear old Captain Stalker. Send today.
Oh my God. So, yeah, they got the letters in common.
Oh, my God.
This is pretty cool to see. Pulp Fiction's cast got back together. John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, and Harvey Keitel appeared. That was for Uma. At the screening of the hit, the 1994 hit, of the 15th annual TCM Classic Film Festival, which took place on the 18th in Hollywood to celebrate 30 years since Pulp Fiction debuted. The group gathered together on the red carpet. Other cast members to attend the event included Roseanne Arquette, Phil Lamar, Julia Sweeney, Frank Whaley, and Eric Stoltz as well.
Yeah.
That's cool. So Tarantino, of course, won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Travolta, Jackson, and Thurman each received acting nominations among its 7 total Oscar nominations. Arquette recently told People magazine, at the time we knew we were in there rehearsing, we're working with a great director, but didn't realize how huge it would become.
He had started to click, but Pulp Fiction catapulted him.
That was it. Eric Stoltz said,
Stop bothering me.
well, Eric Stoltz, who of course portrayed a drug dealer named Lance in Pulp Fiction, recently said that Tarantino, quote, created his own mishmash of genres that surprised people, and Pulp was the first of its kind. Asked if he keeps in touch with Quentin, he said, not in a long time. But, of course, I'd be open to working with him. Again, he's the most fun man on the set you can't even imagine, he said. So, yeah, they had to have had a pretty wild time on that. Speaking of a wild time, I'm sure it was fun at Victoria Beckham's 50th birthday party. She celebrated in style, just like you'd expect. The fashion designer and former Spice Girls member was the center of attention at her party Saturday night at Oswald's, which is a members-only club in London.
I'm sure my name's on the list.
MJB.
Are you sure?
Yeah. What's that stuff on your invitation?
Semen?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, God.
You're going to have to wait over there, sir.
Wait over here. You haven't forgotten about me now, have you?
While she arrived on crutches, she rocked a sheer mint green gown and had husband David by her side.
Were the crutches just a fashion statement, or did she need them?
She was with her daughter Harper and 3 sons, Brooklyn, Romeo, and Cruz. The guest list was full of Posh Spice's famous friends, including Tom Cruise and Mark Anthony, who was hand in hand with his wife Nadia Ferreira. Eva Longoria with her husband Jose Pepe Baston were there, as was Jason Statham and his fiance, and celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay was also in attendance with his wife Tana. They were there, also there to celebrate the milestone, the 4 other members of the Spice Girls who joined the birthday girl for a special reunion, and David shared a video on Instagram of a special performance by Victoria, Jerry, and Mel B, Emma, and Mel C. They were doing dance moves from their song Stop while David sings along with the other guests.
I'm glad this happened because they were a moment in time.
I love them.
Is your favorite still Sporty Spice?
I always thought she was really cute.
Yeah.
I liked her and Ginger, Jerry.
Yeah.
Were my 2 favorites, to be honest. So, yeah. So, in fact, I just followed them on Instagram after seeing this story.
There you go.
The stars of the Blair Witch Project are banding together and sharing a public proposal to Lionsgate after the studio partnered with Blumhouse for a reboot. We touched a little bit on this last week. But now the actual stars that were in the film, Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, and Michael Williams, shared a statement asking for, and good luck with this, retroactive and future residual payments. They want meaningful consultation on any future Blair Witch projects and also want the studio to start a grant for aspiring filmmakers.
Well, here's what the movie company is going to suggest. We prepared all of the contracts. They're in the forest in a house.
Yeah, totally, man.
There's just no way.
The trio is asking for residuals for, quote, acting services rendered in the original Blair Witch Project, equivalent to the sum that would have been allotted through SAG-AFTRA. And it says, had we had proper union or legal representation when the film was made.
You can't even. I'm sorry, it's not going to hold up.
Even that guy knows. Donahue, Leonard, and Williams want to be consulted on any future Blair Witch project, reboot, sequel, prequel, toy, game, ride, escape room, etc., in which one could reasonably assume that Heather, Michael, and Josh's names and or likenesses will be associated for promotional purposes in the public sphere.
One thing they did when they did the original movie is that they literally had them all with cameras, and they were all in effect directing the movie because they were all shooting footage that was assembled into the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, they would give them basic instructions, and then they would leave them be.
Yeah.
And it was pretty wild. I think it's worth something. I think that they were really innovative, and they and the directors and
found footage movies kicked in big time after that.
Yep, exactly. Well, the next iteration of The Office is apparently starting to come together. We've talked about this before as well. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that the new take on the beloved NBC Steve Carell comedy has cast the first two members of what will be the ensemble comedy with, I'm going to try to get her name correct, Sabrina Impacciatore. She was in The White Lotus. She was in the second season. And she was the older woman that worked at the hotel that had the crush on the girl.
Okay.
So
all
she is in this. And
she's good.
Domhnall Gleeson.
Yes.
Wow.
And Nick, he was one of the Weasley boys in...
Yeah, he was also in the Star Wars trilogy. That came
Rise
out
of Skywalker.
He's also in Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's excellent.
So they are the first two to join the cast of the potential series.
So I wonder if he's going to be a Jim sort of character.
Yeah, is it going to be set at Dunder Mifflin in Scranton?
I don't know. I know that the Carell role is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Creators Greg Daniels and Michael Corman declined to comment at this point. Details on roles that Impacciatore and Gleason are playing are being kept under wraps given the huge expectations that come along with anything connected to this new incarnation of The Office. Those sources say Daniels and Corman have been casting a wide net to find talent availabilities for the latter half of this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the legend of and it's not even the original; it's the American version of The Office, but supplanted the original. It's there, so they can tinker around. Let's see what they do.
Yeah. So, despite speculation that the hit animated series Bluey was coming to an end,
yes,
Disney Plus dropped a surprise episode of the show yesterday, which was aptly titled Surprise. And to drive the point home that it was not the end of the series, Bluey producer Sam Moore told BBC Radio, no, it is not the end for Bluey.
Are they still moving ahead with Handy?
And I'm sure that we have many more surprises in store for you. A show spokesperson double confirmed to the Australian Broadcasting Company that they have no plans to end the show. So,
is this still the biggest? Like, Bluey is huge, right?
From right now, for right now, I know it's like the biggest kids show in the world, right? Yes, and has been for a few years.
My nieces and nephew, are obsessed. Love it. Went to the Bluey Live. There's books, there's clothes, there's
Do they know all the Australian vernacular that goes with it?
Everything.
How is it for adults?
I hear that it's great for adults. I hear that
funny.
if you are going to be watching it with kids, you are going to get into it.
Okay.
And I can't bring myself to just sit there and watch it by myself without kids.
Well, next time you're stoned, give it a shot.
Probably good,
I watched it and I laughed out loud, Casey, a few times. It's well written.
Did?
Yeah, well, I was bored and I was.
And you were stoned.
I was stoned and I was scrolling through Disney Plus and was like, I'm going to give this a shot in case we ever talk about it. And I legit laughed at it. And yes, Kathy, I was by myself.
just checking. I was just wondering if there were kids over.
It's okay,
No.
Nick, if you've ever gone to a Toys R Us by yourself, which
Thank
I
you,
have.
Steve.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
just with like nieces and nephews. You could have blamed it on that.
Yeah, you could have said you watched it while you were
You know what?
there.
I want to change my story.
All right.
I was with my nieces and nephews and was not at all stoned.
By the way, I was with kids at the Toys
That's
R Us.
right. Yeah.
By the way, this could be a topic, like things that you should actually be doing with kids, but
Yeah.
You do on your own.
You do on your own.
That's a good one, actually. All right, and then one last story, and then we're going to move on to clips. CBS has announced that CSI Vegas and So Help Me Todd will not be returning for new seasons at the network.
Oh, no.
So Help Me Todd is currently airing its second season, and CSI Vegas is airing its third.
Man, the first season was so not watched by me.
Both shows are scheduled to air their season finales in May, which will now serve as series finales. According to sources, the shows weren't performing poorly. CBS simply did not have enough room on the schedule to bring them back. What are you talking about?
With streaming and stuff like that?
Come on.
If it was something you were into, you would make it happen.
Absolutely.
Look at that. They stuck Days of Our Lives on Peacock.
Yeah.
That's NBC.
All right, we're ready for clips. High Hopes is a workplace reality series based in one of Hollywood's oldest dispensaries. And in this clip, Mishka Ashbel talks about working hard and smoking harder. Here we go.
I've been in this industry for over a decade, and I started off as a super stoner and would smoke a lot of weed throughout the day, and I stayed high. I haven't smoked in a few years. As you move up and you need to be more functional, for me, I think that was just like a different direction that I needed to take.
High Hopes is streaming on Hulu. Here's our next clip. Challengers follows tennis power couple Tashi and Art and their estranged friend and on-court rival Patrick. In this clip, Zendaya describes the innocence of the steamy, friendship-changing threesome scene in the film.
What's really nice about that scene as well is that you get to see them in their youth. You get to see them when it's still fun and they're not jaded and angry and holding on to all this baggage. It's just like kids.
Yeah, the scene looks pretty sexy.
Looks pretty sexy.
They show a little clip of it in the trailer. And there you go. That is what we have in entertainment for you this morning. Entertainment Report. We're going to dive deeper into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations or inductions because those were announced on American Idol last night. We're actually going to have the CEO of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, our friend Greg Harris, is going to be checking in with us on Music News. All the information is available at WMMR.com as well.
He knew. They did the American Idol thing, but he knew if he really wanted to get the information out, he had to come on our show.
Yeah.
Because that would really get the information out.
And we said, we got a slot for you, buddy.
We can pencil you in.
Not only that, but we're also going to have the composers. You said, Steve, he's the John Williams of television. Mike Post is going to be on the program, and he has done so many. I think were we just talking about L.A. Law and Order, Magnum P.I., Rockford Files, blah 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 blah.
On and on
Hill
and
Street
on
Blues,
and on.
All those
NYPD Blue.
all those TV shows. He did all the theme songs for.
Of course, he jokes about it. He's most famous for dun dun.
So yeah, in fact, Case, you got that?
Yeah. Well, I have the Law and Order Sting. I don't know if I have the actual.
Go ahead. He did that as well.
Yeah. So that's put that over, Captain Noah.
That's him.
That too.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk to Mike Post around 9 o'clock. Should be pretty cool. We are going to take a quick break, come back in just a moment, and continue. Don't forget $1,000. At least twice on our show alone. Your chance to win. We're less than an hour away from your first shot at Good Money It. So make sure you stick around.
Traffic from 93.3 WMMR.
Thank you very much, Kathy. So it's prom season. Mm-hmm. Casey's kids went to proms over the weekend as well. Yeah. Nice.
It was on the outskirts of town, just outside the town limits.
Yeah, we had to do it that way. Yeah.
Dance.
Warehouse.
Actually, get there and move around like you want to.
Because his belief is, if you don't trust them, how will they be trustworthy?
Well, my son and daughter both went to the same prom. My daughter is a senior at Marion Mercy Academy, and their senior and junior proms are together. It's a smaller school, so they end up having the same, junior and senior prom at the same place, same time. So my son was asked to go to the prom by junior at the school, and then my daughter, being a senior, was there.
Wait, so the juniors and the seniors go to the same prom?
Yeah, it's a smaller school, Kath. So
And that's why they do it. So there's actually some people at the prom. Prom is a big deal. Like, it's a big deal, though.
It's a big deal
for a lot of seniors. Like, that's like, it's
I
kind
didn't
of
go
the
to mine.
Yeah, and I know people don't, but like it's kind of, and especially for us, I went to Pennsbury, and you guys know, the story behind the prom there, and it's still
another
a huge
level.
deal.
Yeah.
Is it still the how you arrive thing?
Yep, whole thing.
The bigger, the grander, the more impressive, the better.
Yep, still held at the school. That they never went offsite. Junior prom was offsite, but senior prom was always held at the school, and they basically transform the entire school for the prom.
I knew we were going to talk about this, and I have tried to remember my prom. I remember what we did before the prom, and I remember what we did after the prom. I just don't remember the actual event
Does
itself.
that mean it was great? Does it more than or does it mean, what do you attribute that to?
I think it was just like any other school dance that I went to, other than you wore tux. For the
You
guys
probably
anyway.
remembered what you had fun doing, what was memorable for you in the actual event.
Drinking afterwards.
Well,
Right,
yeah.
right. What was it, a night
for you,
of
yeah.
magic? Do you know what I mean?
No, not for me. No.
Okay.
I did not. I was chaste until post high school.
All right. Okay.
So the summer of my senior years when I finally
All right.
dipped it.
So, dip the wick. What was the theme?
Dude, I don't know. I don't remember. I think ours was a starry, starry night, if I
Okay.
remember
That's
correctly.
such a go-to, right?
Mine was
Enchantment Under the Sea.
Mine was Under the Sea.
Was it really?
It was Under the Sea. Yep.
Wow.
Sure was.
I didn't go to mine, but it was the Lusitania, which I thought was a weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember yours, Case?
Nope. All I remember is that they had a program of music, and "Carry On My Wayward Son" was played, but they said it was a Journey song, and I'm like, no, it's a Kansas song.
Yeah. No, they screwed it up right from the get-go.
What I do remember though is we spent hundreds of dollars on a limousine. And so hundreds of dollars were spent on this limousine, and they didn't provide us a driver. So we spent all this money.
What?
And nothing to chauffeur it.
That sucks.
Boom! Sat on that for 3 weeks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming.
Anyway, something that Casey brought up, which I noticed as well because I still have a high schooler, is that now it's much more common for people to go in groups to the prom,
Yeah,
as
I've been
opposed
seeing
to
that.
just a date.
I think
it's cool.
I might have gone to my prom.
Had it been that way,
had
right?
been an option.
Yeah.
I was not seeing anybody at the time. I didn't really think about asking someone, and it just didn't seem to be that. Had that been something that was more common, I think I might have gone.
It seems like old school now to be like, I'm going with a date. Like,
Right,
they're
yeah.
all going in big groups. Like even some of my friends' kids who have boyfriends or girlfriends, they're going together, but they're still going in this big group.
But that was common.
Not everyone is like, for mine, we all went in a huge group too, but you were coupled up. Like you had a date and you went with a date.
Is the difference, though, that it's like a bunch of girls who are friends going or a bunch of guys who are friends? Because the couples, like 4 or 5 couples going together, was always a thing. Like going en masse.
Right.
And getting a limo together and showing up as like an entourage.
I think it is more common of just a group of people.
We're just going, my friends are going.
Yeah. And
That would have appealed to me.
Yep, I think that's a pretty cool idea. So that's what I've seen amongst friends of my youngest, and so it's not uncommon because your options were years ago to either go with a date or go quote unquote stag if you wanted to. I didn't know anybody who went stag.
There was a woman who worked at the school who always made my sloppy joes the way I like it.
I made them extra sloppy for you.
And I was thinking of asking her.
Yeah.
So my son's a junior in high school. He had his junior prom last weekend, and he was the only one who wore tux, by the way, which I thought was interesting.
Really?
Yeah, he likes to dress up. And so he went out to, and Well, two quick stories. First of all, Steve, he organized the entire group. So there were like 30 kids in this group, and he and his buddy put it all together. There was a pre-prom party and a post-prom party.
Good for him.
And so he was like into the sort of the party planning aspect of all of it.
Real quick, did he know he was going to be the only one in a tux? Like he was okay with the fact that he was dressed differently?
I don't know if he knew or not, but we went to Akabuchi's, which is an awesome tux outfitter in the area, and he picked it out. He picked out the vest. He wanted to go vest instead of cummerbund, so he decided to do that. But most of his friends, guy friends, were wearing suits. The girls looked like $1 million. But there were a couple like boyfriend girlfriends in there, but mostly it was just a big group of people, and they all got together. And there was something else I was going to say, and then Kathy interrupted me.
Sorry.
Damn
I
it.
totally forgot what that was.
Oh, man.
I don't remember. Do you guys? So did anybody else have junior prom?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
We're doing junior prom. Is this Friday night?
I'm sorry. Did you have it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the
did
one.
you go to yours?
We did too.
Yeah.
I did not go to that either.
Yeah,
I was a
I went
little
to junior prom with a
antisocial.
friend, and I went to senior prom with a date, and I've told that senior prom story many times. But junior prom was not nearly as important as senior prom was.
Was it more fun because it was a little bit more lax?
I had a great time at junior prom.
Yeah.
I went with a sophomore, Emily Levitt. She was a friend, and it was a lot of fun.
I think my junior year, I went to the senior prom because that girl who wrote the term papers for me
You did a date?
asked me to go, and I went.
What was the age difference?
1 year. She was a senior. I was a junior.
All right.
I think I went. God,
I can't
terrible.
believe you can't
I
remember.
went. I don't remember having a great time at either of my proms. It's not that I had a bad time. But
I did.
Of course you would.
of course you did.
and
You're not a loser like me.
Yeah.
We
you know?
had
You
the
showed
ninth,
up with the teacher.
we had a dance for every year. So there was the 9th grade dance, the 10th grade dance,
Yeah.
junior prom, senior prom, and when I was
You went to all of them.
and also when I was a senior, I went to the junior prom. When I was a junior, I went to the senior prom. There was, and it just was, I don't know but I liked high school.
Well, yeah, because you were like
truly enjoyed
the queen
high
of
school.
everything.
You were Marsha Brady.
True. I just
Popular.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did well. I had friends, and events like that for me were fun, and that's what I look back on.
How many? Were you with a steady boyfriend for the
No,
senior
in
prom?
high school, no, I didn't really.
How many inquiries did you get as to whether or not you'd go with someone?
No, I mean maybe the junior prom, maybe because when I was a senior, because there was people that
Right.
needed a date or whatever. And then my senior prom, no, I was always just going with one person.
Okay.
And it was a friend.
I remember the other thing I was going to say. And Preston, you talked about drinking before and after prom. And Casey and I graduated high school the same year in '93. And Casey, I don't know if this is the case for you, but we had the fear of death put into us if we were to drink before or after.
They had breathalyzers at the front door.
They had it's for
Yeah.
senior
Wow.
prom. They didn't for junior, but they did at senior. And if you showed up drunk or drank at the prom, the threat was they would toss you out of school. You wouldn't graduate high school. Everything would get screwed up. And when you're a senior or junior in high school, that means the world.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't try drinking before going to the dance.
we
'Cause
did.
the same thing was put us, but the thing is, they couldn't smell cocaine. So.
What does it?
It was the
smell like?
80s, folks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kathy, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you remember? Did you have to? If you were getting asked to go as a date from somebody who got the courage together to come up and ask you, and you didn't want to go, did you have to let a few people down?
No, I was never in a situation like that. And also, I think it was more like you knew before it actually happened. It was like
I don't speak English.
What? You're in my English class.
I know who you are.
No, hables.
No, you almost knew ahead of time. Like I knew the kid that was going to ask me. It was kind of set up. Ask her if she would be interested. Yeah, I would be interested. Oh, hey, do you want to go to prom? Okay, great.
Yeah, you would test the waters a little bit
Yeah.
because God, rejection. Oh my God, the worst.
Kathy, what year did John Mayer show up at Pennsbury?
Oh, it was years after I graduated.
Okay.
I forget what year it was.
I'm going to go to Barbara. Barbara has a daughter is going to prom. Hi, Barbara. Good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. What's up, Barb?
So my daughter's going this Friday to junior prom, and they just go, stag a lot of times. And some of them are coupled up, with boyfriends and stuff, but they are more going just as a friend group. That the couple thing is not as important, thank goodness. You know,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
So Barbara, I look at this and I'm like, man, I kind of wish that was a vibe when I had the prom situation, because
a lot less pressure.
It would have been a lot less pressure.
Yeah. So what's
exactly? It would have been a lot more fun too.
Yeah.
So both of my, or not both of them, but all of my kids go to single sex schools, right?
Right,
so,
you can only have sex once.
You can only have sex once. No. So they, so like my son goes to an all boys school, so they have to, ask girls from a different school to go to their prom. So it's a little
school.
bit, it's a little bit different. But so now what happens is friend groups, like my son's not going to the prom with a girlfriend. He's going to prom with a girl who is a friend who is also like part of the group of friends that. How do I even say this? Like. All these guys are friends with all these girls. So my son does have a date, but like
it's a friend group.
It's a friend group. Yeah. So
I'm sorry, Casey. Barbara, is that similar dynamic to what Casey is describing? That it's maybe different boys and girls, but it's all just friendly.
Yeah, it is. It is just like that. A couple of the girls have dates, but they're just friends with the boys.
Okay,
Like,
Is that you, Casey? Same situation.
Same situation.
See, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
My senior prom.
Like you're just going with a friend.
Yep, I got it. Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate it. My senior prom, I went with a girl. We went as friends.
Yeah.
Because neither of us had a date.
Right.
And she was cool. I liked her, and we ended up having a good time.
How are your essays?
Yeah, that was the year before.
Case, when I was I went to Conestoga, and when girls in our high school got invited to Malvern Prep or Devon Prep proms, that was like a big deal for them. Like, those were cool girls that went to proms at other schools. I was like, oh my God, they must be. They're not only popular at Conestoga, they're popular in Malvern Prep and Devon Prep too.
Oh, Nick, for ours, it was like an eye roll. It was like, oh, she's going to Conwell's prom.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Why was
Or Egan at the time. Yeah. I don't know. It was like you couldn't leave the Pensbury Circle. If you went to Council Rock, it was like you were a traitor.
You whore.
Yeah.
Whore.
By the way, Kathy, John Mayer was at Pensbury in 2005.
Oh, so just the year after I graduated.
Yeah.
They were off by years, 2004.
Oh my God! Where did you find this photo?
Yeah.
This was not my prom. That was my actual girlfriend. That was her prom.
Oh.
There's a photo.
And what's her name?
That was Patty.
Patty.
Patty's cool. Yeah, she's really cool.
Are you still friends with her? Are you not?
Yeah, I haven't talked to her in years, but yeah.
Do you ever see the child you had with her?
No, I did not. But yeah, she went to St. Joe's. She was a Catholic school girl.
Okay.
Oh, so you banged her.
But I had other friends that were dating her friends.
Right.
Like my fellow band member, Greg, was dating one of her best friends. So we went as a crew. We had a great time.
But the Jewish girlfriend, the parents didn't like you.
Right. Yes, because I was a Gentile. Okay. That is correct. Yeah.
Well, yes. So even still, again, that whole notion, I think that's a. And do the schools play up the notion of going together as groups, or do they still sort of, the protocol is you ask someone to go with you, and that's your date?
Well,
how are the proms positioned?
So every single date, so my daughter's high school, every single date at the Marion Mercy prom, they had to have a permission slip signed by the dean of students from their own high school. So if somebody, Nick
oh yeah, we had to have that too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that you had to go through all.
What about
those?
your parole officer?
Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me go to. I'm going to go to Kathy. Hi, Kathy. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. What's up, Kath?
It's okay.
So back in the day when I was in high school, in the 80s, I asked a kid from another school. And a week before the prom, I see him at the mall with another girl, which was fine. However, he was supposedly getting his tux, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, Kathy can't keep her mouth shut. I'm yelling. Anyway, I still went to the prom with him. Nobody talked to him. And then come 20 years later, he sent me an apology letter saying, hey, I'm really sorry. The way I, did you wrong at your prom, whatever. I never realized he was playing hockey against my son and was one of my son's closest friends all these years.
And I'm confused.
So your prom date is of the same age as your son?
No. Yes. No.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, what do you mean? He's playing hockey with your son.
Yeah, so my son was only 16. He was playing in a men's league.
Oh.
But I would go, and then we wear all the hockey
Okay.
gear, so you didn't know who they were. And sure enough, I said, my son has a hockey game, and he goes, who's your son? And I'm like, Richie. And he's like,
okay.
Oh, my God, I play him tonight. So, of course, I went to the hockey rink, and I put our prom pictures all the way around the glass.
Oh, my God.
So everywhere he ran when he was running against my son playing.
Kathy, your date seems very young. Yeah, he's 6 years old, but no. Well, that's a wild story. It's a little different. Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. All right, we'll see you.
I thought for sure she was dating a 9-year-old.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I'm gonna hang on. Matt went to a prom last year. Hi, Matt. You're on the air. Good morning, bud.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, what's up, my man?
So I go to Father Judge, and the way they are, it's you have to bring a date. You can't just go solo or anything.
Wow.
Why that restriction? Like, what's the intent? And why can't you just go solo?
I'm not 100% sure. I think they want it to just be a more formal event, but you have to at least go with someone.
So, Matt, could you go with a group? Could you say, okay, we're coming as a group of 6?
You had to be with at least you yourself have to at least bring a date of the opposite gender. Like there's a whole form that you have to fill out with it and everything.
Okay, all right, it's interesting, but because that's for years that was the thing, and that's where the stress came from, is that you had to go with.
Yeah.
And like I remember in high school, I was not seeing anyone at the time with prom.
Yeah.
And so that to me was like I didn't want to ask someone and go down the path of like. I don't want to, you get
turned down.
You're negotiating a landmine, too.
I think, and I think
a minefield, I should say.
That's how it used to be done,
right?
And it doesn't have to be done that way anymore, right? You're putting people in a weird situation where, again, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I just want to go to this thing. I
just like the food.
Well, especially at that school. Like, the school isn't free. Right, you know what I mean? We spent a lot of money over these years.
Yeah.
Like, and I just want to go to this dance. Now you're making me ask somebody, and I don't want to ask anybody. I just want to put a tux on and go to this dance.
Yeah.
You want to cut loose.
Yeah.
To an event.
Footloose. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean, come on.
I mean, you hear this.
Yeah.
You want to get moving. That's all there is to it. Let me take another call. This is Ashley, who did go to the Pennsbury prom. Hi, Ashley. Good morning.
Hi, guys. You guys rock.
Thank you, Ashley. When was this? When did you go? How many years ago?
It was 2007.
Okay.
So Kathy was still there.
I was still there.
And what's the story?
So I went to Nazareth Academy, graduated in 2008, and my best friend and I lived in Langhorne, and she was dating, when we were juniors, she was dating a senior that was going to the Pennsbury prom, and he had a few friends that didn't have dates. So my best friend grabbed me and another one of our friends, and we just told the guys, I didn't even know the guys' names. We just told them, I'm going to be wearing red. So the guy was like, okay, I'll wear red and buy flowers for red. And then we just showed up at this random guy's house and got to go to Pennsbury prom.
It sounds like an Eli Roth movie in the making.
Was it any good? Did you get along with the guy who was your quote-unquote date?
I don't know. We took pictures and we hung out, but it was more just so they had someone for a picture, and then they were cool with hanging out with themselves, and
so was it this?
Just broke off.
It was the same sort of deal that you kind of had to go with someone.
I don't know. I think they needed to show up with someone.
All right. Yeah.
That's fine. Listen, my son went to this prom on Friday night, and he had never met the girl.
Yeah.
The first time he had ever met her was when we showed up for pictures on Friday night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was one of those.
Plays hockey with you.
No, it was one of those deals where there was a whole group of girls that were going, and they were like, "Well, hey, you need a date." I'm not going to say her name or anything like that, but you need a date. And all right, well, in our group of friends, who do we know? And so it was between Seamus and this other guy, and I think the other guy might be seeing somebody or something like that. So they invited Him. And so they talked via Snapchat for like a couple of weeks and got to know each other then.
That was cool of him to go. Just to go to the event, be with the other people, have a good time, take a chance. Why not?
I think the formality of everything was what was restrictive. Is that you were, if you felt, you would go in, and if you had to be with someone and you had to, that's what made it. I think again, I clearly say if the dynamic was, hey, like 3 or 4 of my buddies, we're going to go and kind of just have a good time with the students that we went to school with and our friends. Yeah. And that would be the complexion of the event. I would have probably gone in a heartbeat, but to me, it was more a dating relationship, a formal sort of thing. And I wasn't down with that.
Yeah. So
that was cool. I was Fonzie.
Nick, by the way, you had Instagram up for a second there. Why was my nephew's picture on our Instagram page? You just like pulled it up.
No. It was on yours.
Okay.
So I went to my page first to show the picture of Ben to Preston, and then I went to yours thinking maybe you had posted photos of your family.
Why is he on X Hamster?
You would not. So that was. But you want me to go to X Hamster, Steve?
So
you see my prom video.
Yeah. As I was driving Seamus, by the way, over to
it's called
this
Evening Under the Cuck
house for pictures on Friday night, I was trying to talk to him about being a good date, right?
Okay,
like, listen, you want to be attentive and, like you don't know this girl and you guys have never met. And listen, I understand that your friends are there and you're going to want to hang with your friends and that's fine. But make sure that you check up on her periodically, and if she wants to dance, then you need to dance with her. You know what I mean? Like, this is her night. This isn't your night.
Her prom.
Yeah. True. Yeah. You're a good dad, Case. I had a similar chat with Ben, and I was asking him if he was taking a date, Steve, and it was like, if you're going to get a vest or a cummerbund, they have to match the color of the dress. Right. Do you need flowers? And because it was a group or whatever, but he was cute. He was like, no, I don't think I need a vest or a cummerbund. He just didn't know that, like, if you wear a tux, you have to have one of them. So then he ended up picking out.
Do they still match them?
Well, yes, they do. He ended up, just doing the black vest or whatever, and he liked the vest over the cummerbund. But I don't know, as a parent, it's freaking adorable. To be able to take your kid to the, and help him get set up for prom.
I love that stuff. I mean, I remember my dad when I got my first suit. This wasn't it actually was going out on a date. It was a formal thing. I'd been invited to a wedding by a girl,
and you took it. Oh, wow!
Right, and so I wanted to get the suit, and I remember my dad giving me the advice and teaching me how to tie the tie.
Yes.
It was a wonderful time.
It's impactful.
So Nick, Ben went with some buds?
Yes.
Okay.
Big group.
Cool. They ended up having a good time?
They had a great time. Pre and post prom, and I was psyched for all of them.
It was funny because Seamus's date was wearing pink. And so me and I asked him, because we knew he had to match her thing. I go, what color's the dress? He goes, pink. I'm like, perfect. And I left it at that.
No. Much more specific.
Yeah, well,
magenta.
It was hot pink. And thank God.
Is it fuchsia?
My wife was asking the same question, what color's her dress? And he goes, pink. And I'm like, I already asked him that. We got this covered, hon. We're good. And she's like, what shade of pink? And I was like, oh, God, that's a good question.
And he told me the story. And I go, what color? What shade of pink?
I wouldn't have known.
No.
One more call, and then we got to take a break because I got to get ready for Good Money I'm going to go to Joe. Hi, Joe. Good morning.
God, these stories are making me feel so old.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, what's your story, dude?
My prom, well, I was a senior in 97, so my friend went out with a junior, so her friend didn't have a date. So, of course, I went along with the date. Date went good, it was a gentleman. Just don't remember how I wound up in Wildwood, New Jersey. I woke up at, say, 6 o'clock in the morning. Had no idea where I was at. Didn't recognize the house. I was like a horror movie. I woke up, no idea where I was at. Tried waking up my friend. He's comatose. Tried waking up the girls. They're not waking up. Here I am, 6 o'clock in the morning, looking through trash or bills to try to find an address. And no idea where I was at. Find out where I was at. This is obviously before cell phones. Looking through Yellow Pages, trying to find a taxi cab to come pick me up. So I wound up taking a cab to, I guess it was Cape May, to the bus station, and took a bus home from Wildwood.
Oh my God! Where do you live? Where did you go to?
At the time, I lived in Northeast Philly.
And you ended up in Wildwood?
Did you ever ascertain as to how you got out there?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you ever figure out how you got out there?
Oh, yeah. Well, my friend and his girlfriend wound up getting married. So that was like a high school love. So they wound up getting married. I wound up finding out how I got to Wildwood. But waking up in Wildwood, no idea where I was at. I didn't know what state I was in.
They got married on prom night?
No, no, they got married a few years later.
No, I mean, and eventually they shared the story with him.
Yeah, I wasn't a jerk. I apologized. The Monday I got back to school, everybody was laughing, making jokes, and I apologized to the girl. She didn't care, but that was back in '97 when things were.
She didn't care?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
No, she didn't care.
All right. Thanks,
Yeah,
Joe.
that's right.
Appreciate it, man. Prom night. Wow. All right. Well, anyhow, hopefully, if you've got, the dances going on, it's a bunch were obviously this past weekend. We got some coming up still. Hopefully you have a good time. and
Sounds
enjoy
like
it.
it's a lot more enjoyable. The potential is.
I think that depending on where you go to school, because
Yeah.
we had the kid calling from Father Judge, it's a lot more loose now.
Right.
And it's just about going and having a good time, and you don't necessarily have to have a date, and you can go with some friends. And I think that's a cool way to do it.
That would have worked for me.
Yeah. All right, listen, we want to stay on time, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back in a moment. Not only some bizarre file stories, but we will have your first shot of many this week at winning $1,000 with MMR's Good Money It. It's on the way next, so stay with us.
Traffic on 93.3 WMMR.
All right, thank you, Kathy. We got about a minute or so to play with here real quick. I want to do a butt plug, a mention for one of my closest friends, Will Chapman. His band is playing a charity event. They're called the Shoe Shiners, and one of the members in the band, his mother is fighting a rare form of cancer.
Oh, man.
So they are having an event this Sunday, and I wanted to mention that. It is going to be April 28th. Circle D Concerts and Bam Bam's Bake Shop are putting on this benefit for Colleen Matthews. And they're going to be playing along, the Shoe Shiners are going to be playing along with Break for Turtles and Deal. And they'll play the American Legion in Willow Grove. It's 2305 Computer Road. Doors open at 3. Plenty of food and drink, craft vendors, raffles, and a bunch more. And the money being raised is going to help the family pay for her treatment. We have the information posted at WMMR.com if you would like to take a look at that. It's in the community page of PresidentSteve.com or WMMR.com. So I wanted to mention that, and their band is a lot of fun. So, in fact, you got to hear Will wrote this song called Delco Girl.
Oh. Delco Girl?
Which you've never heard that?
I don't know.
You will love the lyrics of this song.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
What does he play?
He plays guitar and sings.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the singer of the band. So everybody plays a different part. I mean, there's a couple singers, but Will is awesome and writes the original music. So anyhow, we have that information at WMMR.com if you'd like to check that out and help out. That'd be wonderful. All right, we can now have your chance at winning money right here.
93.3 WMMR Philadelphia.
It's time for a Good Money It keyword.
All right, the word is crown, C-R-O-W-N. You have until 15 minutes after the hour to enter it. There are 3 ways for you to do it. You can do it through WMMR.com, the MMR app, or you can text it with the special contest short code number, which is 45911. One random entry wins $1,000 in the company-wide contest, and each winner gets a call from Beasley, so make sure you answer your phone. Contest rules at WMMR.com, and it's sponsored by McLaughlin Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. So the word, once again, is crown. C-R-O-W-N. Enter it now or forever hold your peace.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you by Delco Trim Light. And you can visit DelcoTrimLight.com to schedule an estimate on installation of the coolest permanent programmable holiday lighting system around. So I got all kinds of heavy things here. How about this? And this is an involved story.
All right.
A now 10-year-old child in Texas facing a charge for threatening to kill a fellow student during a school bus altercation separately admitted to school officials after the incident that this 10-year-old, fatally shot a sleeping stranger years ago at an RV park in Nixon, Texas, just 1 week before he turned 8.
So we were talking about the concept of the bad seed, the kid that's just evil. Sounds like this kid.
The shocking development in the unsolved January 2022 murder of 32-year-old Brandon Quinn Raspberry began with an April 11th school bus dispute between the 10-year-old boy and another student. The sheriff's office said the school official contacted authorities the next day, but not just about the alleged threat to kill. According to the sheriff, they said when the deputy arrived and spoke to the school officials who informed the deputy the child made a statement that he shot and killed a man 2 years ago.
Jeez.
They cannot bring murder charges in this case under Texas law because a child does not have criminal culpability until they reach the age of 10 years old.
What about kids' court?
The juvenile faces a terroristic threat charge related to the bus incident, however. Authorities said that the student under questioning by school officials about the alleged bus threat began to describe Raspberry's death at the Lazy J RV park, which took place just 4 days after the victim moved there. Investigators found that Raspberry had been shot once in the head, but they uncovered no clues about who could have killed him by checking cell phone data. That's because authorities now say the person who killed Raspberry was a complete stranger to him. The child was transported to a child advocacy center where a forensic interview was conducted. During the interview, the 10-year-old described in detail that 2 years ago he shot and killed a man at the trailer park. The sheriff's office said, emphasizing that the juvenile had confirmed details only the killer would know.
Whoa.
I mean, that's like Michael Myers territory.
He was visiting his grandpa's place at the Lazy J RV park when he decided to grab a gun from the glove box in the relative's truck, went to Raspberry's RV and shot him in the head as he slept. He then put the firearm back in his truck as if nothing had happened. The suspected shooter allegedly admitted that the extent that he knew Raspberry was as a stranger he happened to see outside that day, nor did the victim do anything whatsoever to make him mad, investigators said. When asked, the child stated he had never met Brandon and did not know who he was, although he had observed him walking around the RV earlier in the day. The child also was asked if he was mad at him for any reason, and he said he had never done anything to him to make him mad. The sheriff's office said that they tracked down the gun at the pawn shop the day after the child informed investigators. During the interview, the gun had been pawned by his grandfather. Thereafter, the 10-year-old was evaluated at a psychiatric hospital before he was subjected to juvenile detention in the bus threat case. Is that not insane?
What do you do with that? I mean, again, you think of Michael Myers, what's going to happen as this kid gets older?
Well, this kid's going around saying that he did this too, so he knows. I don't know. So we'll see if there's a follow-up down the road on this. We can't do that one. We need something lighter than that. Even though this involves a murder.
It's a funny murder.
It's a funny murder. Well, it's
interesting.
A man who claimed he killed his friend because he believed the victim was summoning Bigfoot.
Yes.
Was convicted of murder.
Would you just let your friend summon Bigfoot without trying to stop him?
Larry Doyle Sanders was found guilty by an Oklahoma judge. Jimmy Knighton was strangled to death in July 2022 while out fishing with Sanders. Sanders' attorney reportedly claimed that his client had acted in self-defense.
You, Larry.
Sanders claimed
he's upset
during testimony that while out noodling with Knighton, just noodling with Knighton, he had seen 3 Sasquatch-looking figures by the river.
No, 3 of them.
Witnesses.
1, 2, 3.
Witnesses for the prosecution testified that Sanders had said he believed Knighton was trying to kill him and send his body down the river as a sacrifice to Bigfoot.
Son of a bitch. A friend does this to you.
A forensic psychiatrist testified that Sanders was
I see what's happening now.
Suffering from methamphetamine-induced psychosis and believed that he was defending himself. Knighton died following a fight during which Sanders put him in a chokehold. Sanders faces up to life in prison without parole.
And the thing is, what if he's telling the truth?
Yeah, I mean, come on. We need to be open to that. Foresters for the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources used dynamite to blow up 2 enclosed wooden deer stands, state officials say, were permanently left on state land against state law.
Couldn't just dismantle them with a hammer?
I was wondering the same thing.
Maybe like a claw hammer to pull out the nails and stuff?
Neighbors in the area say the demolition was unsafe and unnecessary. Agency officials on Wednesday said that the action didn't follow the DNR policy or reflect good judgment and that follow-up measures are likely. The action occurred on state land within earshot of residences. The land is also within the boundaries of the Leech Lake Reservation, and the owner of the stands is an enrolled member of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe. I'm sure I'm messing that up. Friends and neighbors say. So the man is unwilling to come forward for fear of repercussions. According to Kent Parks, who knows the owner and inspected the site after the explosion, he said, I found the detonator cord they used. It makes absolutely no sense to have done this. Debris is still scattered 100 feet around the former deer stands after the explosion.
You said get rid of it.
The mostly wooden structures, elevated shelters with roofs, walls, and windows where hunters sat and watched for deer during hunting seasons, were about 4 by 8 feet, about 10 feet tall, and placed on wheeled trailers. The structures had been there for at least 10 or 15 years.
Could you get rid of that wasp nest on the side of the house?
Parks and Jim Fina, who owns property about a half mile from the deer site, said the explosions were heard more than 4 miles away. He said it shook my house.
You told me to do it.
The windows rattled. A can of Coke vibrated off my bar. There were 2 explosions, one for each stand, I guess. The wood scattered around it's all splintered.
What, you think you could get rid of them with one?
He said it's a mess. And he said you and I would be issued a ticket if we left a mess like that.
Yeah, I think using the dynamite is the bigger issue.
Yeah. All right, and that's all we're going to have time for. That first story was a little bit long. That's all we have in the Bizarre File for you this morning. I got more we'll get to a little bit later on, but you have a little bit of time. You got roughly 5 minutes left to send over the word crown for the Good Money It prize that we have this morning. So the word is crown, CROWN. And we'll give you until 15 minutes after the hour to enter that. So make sure you do it now. A little later this morning, composer Mike Post. This guy has done so many great TV show theme songs.
Everything.
We're going to get a chance to talk to him. He's got a new album out and more. We'll get to it in a bit. Stay with us.
33 WMMR.
All right, thank you very much, Kathy. I think we're going to dive into a little dipsy-doo here, and we are going to get to the stream of consciousness.
A little dipsy-doo. My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
Yes.
The stream of consciousness, sir.
Been a little while since this guy has shown up. I thought today would be a good day to do it. Today is Earth Day.
Yes. Did you get the Earth anything?
We're not aware. I did not get the Earth anything. I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, we got to back it up. If today is Earth Day, I need to remind you what yesterday was. Yesterday was Talk Like Bill Weston Day.
Oh. Did you observe? I totally forgot.
I did not observe it. It did not speak like Bill, but I did watch a video that was posted by our Instagram account, and it was when I had secretly filmed Bill during one of our meetings just to show how he gesticulated when he would speak. And then Nick Murphy, our former video guru, added a whole bunch of sound effects, and I added some mumbling to it, and we got this great video of what it was like to sit in a meeting with Bill Weston. I showed it to Rochelle yesterday. She was cracking up.
Yes, it's great.
But yesterday,
stop talking and listen to me.
Yesterday was Talk Like Bill Weston Day. So
I get off.
We still hold Bill near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah, we will get him back in. Certainly, he is an honorary member of the show in good standing. But I miss Bill.
Yeah, definitely.
Santa's got to go.
So hopefully you participated in Talk Like Bill Weston Day yesterday. But today is Earth Day. First celebrated on April 20. It's celebrated on April 22nd since the very first one took place back in 1970. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it went back that far. I thought it was.
I remember it being a product of the 70s.
I thought it was 80s-ish. The day focuses on environmental causes, raises awareness of environmental protection, and there are a lot of different ways to celebrate.
You know what I do? I burn piles of leaves.
Oh, you do?
No. I think I saw a lot of people recently over the past 2 weekends, and it's clearly community groups that are out cleaning up areas and getting rid of bottles from areas, and you want to. They're just doing great work, and it's such a joy to just sit there and do nothing and watch them.
When I take the time to actually glance at the side of the road while I'm driving, it really bothers me.
Yes,
there is so much garbage.
Yeah,
just absolute strewn garbage all up and down roads. It's really embarrassing, to be honest.
It is, and it's that sort of blight is what. It's a quality of life. When you go to an area and you go to a town or a city or wherever where it's cleaner or just in general, it just makes you feel better. There's sort of it is. that's why, like, just in a general thing with my house and my area, I try to keep it clean and I do that out of respect for my neighbors. And on a larger scale, we need to do that for everybody and for, the population.
I agree. So I live a little further out removed. But when I do find myself in more of the city region, driving through neighborhoods, and I just see garbage and trash, I'm like, man, how, you live here.
Yeah.
When you come in from the suburbs
Pick it up.
and you have your super high pants and your big suitcase, sort of crumpled up pad, do you feel that the slickers are going to take advantage of you?
Maybe. But I'm like, wow.
No, I know what you're saying.
I feel bad.
It shouldn't be that way. No one should live with that garbage. And but yeah, so to me, I think Earth Day has a very good mindset behind. I just like the notion of those, and I've engaged in going out and cleaning up areas. I was joking occasionally. It is something that's very productive if you can do it, and just reclaim, because there's so many wonderful like park areas outside of just the sides of the streets that you can reclaim and turn around and make them usable.
My fiance is one of those people that when we're hiking and we're out places, she picks up the garbage. And
Good for her.
She puts it in the backpack, and I'm proud of her, and I find it icky. And I don't do it. And
it is
I'm like,
incredibly icky.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's gross and slimy. And it's just me being selfish.
Yeah.
Some of that real sticky, icky.
Ooh-wee. I picked up some garbage in front of our building last week. It was a black bag. It had a couple of like water balls, some stuff. It was sitting out in the right in the parking lot, right by the front parking spaces. And the first day I walked by, and I was coming into work. I got my briefcase. I got another bag in my other hand. I'm like, all right, well, maintenance will pick that up, So, and I come in the next morning, and it's still there. So I picked it up.
Yeah.
I have no home.
I threw it away, but I was like, really? That stayed here the whole time? But maybe a car was parked over it. I don't know. Maybe somebody didn't see it.
You know what I hate? Also, like,
and it was icky, Nick. I got all kinds of gunk all over my hands.
Some of that real sticky, icky.
And you got to go wash your hands, which takes another 30 seconds.
Here's some simple ways.
You don't always have to wash your hands.
Here's some simple ways for anyone to celebrate Earth Day, in case you were wondering. Buy sustainable produce at the grocery store. Since it's Monday this year, people can try a meatless Monday. Skipping the meat for one day is good for our health as well as our planet, according to this article I'm reading.
What if you have leftovers and it's meat?
Then you're good.
You son of a bitch.
Eat them tomorrow.
You heartless, planet-killing prick.
And everyday actions count too, like going to a local park or beach cleanup or attending an Earth Day event in your area.
There we go.
NASA has a big goal for Earth Day. They want you and everyone else on the planet to celebrate with a selfie. They're asking people to go outside and take a photo of themselves in their corner of the world, then post it to social media with the hashtag global selfie.
Hashtag waste of time.
Yeah, I don't. What's the point of that?
That's really going to help. No, don't clean up the neighborhood. Just take a selfie.
You get bonus points if your pic includes a body of water, but they want to see the mountains, park, sky, and you too.
NASA's seen it all before.
Yeah, you mentioned bodies of water. One thing that I am actively trying to do is waste less water. It's something like, so I turn the water off when I brush my teeth now. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so much.
My toilet's completely dry.
Excessive waste that you don't even like think about, right? Like when you let your shower run to get warm, like that's a lot of wasted water right there. I need to figure out a better way to
get in when it's freezing cold.
I can't do that.
I cut the corners a little bit like that.
Do what you can do that makes sense.
Yeah, do what you can do. Like, I remember
to...
I was brushing my teeth, same thing, and I left the faucet on the entire time I was brushing my teeth. I'm like, they just all went down the drain. I didn't use any of it. So I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
If you can find these little spots where you can do that.
I think a lot of people see these as Herculean things. Every little bit is going to help. And do something that's to your level of comfortability. I brush my teeth in the toilet.
Okay. See, that's smart.
You're multitasking.
I'm multitasking.
I like that. Okay. Well, anyhow, it's Earth Day, so observe how you will, please. All right. Let's see what else we can stream.
The stream of consciousness, nerd.
The FAA on Friday announced new rules for air traffic controllers aimed at reducing fatigue and ending mistakes that caused near misses on the runway, because there was another one last week.
It's getting dicey, air travel, with doors flying off planes in mid-flight and the air traffic controllers passing out.
Controllers will be required to take 10 hours off in between shifts and 12 hours off before a midnight shift. effective in 90 days.
How does it?
What was it?
Yeah, how does it
previous?
work now?
That's a good question. I don't know, Kath. The new rule follows recommendations from a report of the FAA commissioned in December in which a panel of scientific experts have determined the fatigue air controllers experience from lack of rest impairs their alertness and threatens air traffic safety. The new rest policy also comes amid heightened scrutiny of close calls on the runway. Last year, 2 commercial planes almost crashed into each other during takeoff at JFK.
So there are a number of occupations that have mandatory sleep periods that you have to have, that you would be in violation of law.
Yeah.
So clearly, air traffic controllers, pilots, long-haul truckers,
Yeah,
right?
but by the way, a lot of times those are, yes, it is in place, but like there's exceptions. If they get approval, they can
Right.
continue on. So it's like,
You can get somebody to sign off on it.
yeah.
Do we have that? For every hour on, we get an hour of sleep.
We should sleep. Yeah. Oh, God.
So we sleep from 7 to 8.
Yeah,
and then
we have to go to break. It's our nap time.
It's our responsibility. Well, if an emergency happens, and we need to indicate the proper place to go and thing to do if there's an emergency here as public broadcasters.
That's what we're responsible for.
I always thought being an air traffic controller would be kind of it seems like an interesting job.
I'd rather be a long-haul trucker.
Yeah.
I think there's too much responsibility for the air traffic controllers.
I told this story years ago. So one of my cousin's best friends in New York is air traffic control. And she said it is beyond stressful.
Right. I can't imagine.
And she got 2 planes too close to each other, and it wasn't no one was in danger, but technically the space between them was too close, and she did it twice within 6 months or something, whatever the time frame was, I don't know. And they put her on leave. They were like, you're too stressed, you're too tired, whatever it was, and she had to take a leave to basically get herself back into air traffic control shape or whatever. But she said it's one of the most stressful jobs out there.
There was a moment in my life where I thought about becoming an air traffic controller. Believe it or not, I was taking geometry in high school, and I loved geometry. It's my favorite math. I had so much fun.
I kind of agree with you.
And I was really, really good at it. And I asked my geometry teacher, I'm like, besides being a math teacher, how can I use geometry as a career? And he had mentioned
air traffic controller.
Yeah.
Wonder how so.
Because it's a lot of vectors
Just
and
trying
lines
to get him off his back. Angles. And,
XY axis.
I think the reason I thought it would be cool is because I would like to be able to talk as fast as they do and understand all of that stuff that's being said. Delta 8494, your claim was coming. Like that's how fast they say that stuff.
What am I bad?
It's incredible. It's this weird little language that they have.
But Kathy's right. So if you take an active airport at the height of a lot of air traffic, let's say you have like a Die Hard 2 situation where terrorists have taken over the airport.
Oh, my goodness.
Fortunately, John McClane happens to be at the airport. What do? You have to rack them, stack them, and pack them.
That's what you got to do. No, but I would imagine there's a little Tetris game that needs to be played in getting all those planes.
Like an airplane, they're actually playing.
And around. Did you ever see the movie Pushing Tin?
Yes. With,
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah,
and John Cusack.
Yeah.
And it shows them trying to squeeze these planes into these locales to get them in safely. Hang on a second here. Nick, what is this?
This is sort of what Casey was talking about, the skills that are required for air traffic controllers.
All right, it says other skills that are essential include a fast processing of numeric computations and mathematics.
I'm out.
Assertive and firm decision-making skills, the ability to maintain their composure under pressure, and an excellent short-term memory.
I'm out.
Wow.
I'm out, John. Wait,
it's like watching
Preston.
those dealers at the craps table.
Yes.
It's like, dude, how did you do that math like that?
Flight 205, you're clear for landing. Oh, you've already landed.
Yeah.
See, I told you.
Let me go to Olivia. Hi, Olivia. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, what's up, Olivia?
So my boyfriend is an air traffic controller. He's a civilian. He used to be in the military. But now, he used to have 12 hours in between shifts. Mm-hmm. But now that he's a civilian, he doesn't have to have any certain amount of hours in between his shifts.
So as a military air traffic controller, they required a break between 12 hours. But now as a civilian air traffic controller, there's no specific requirement.
Yeah, so we used to have a thing called crew rest in between each shift to make sure that, he was on his P's and Q's. And obviously, no drinking in between those hours. Mm-hmm. But now that he's a civilian, he doesn't have to have, he doesn't have to be on crew rest for 12 hours.
Except effective in 90 days, though, they will be required to take 10 hours off in between shifts and 12 hours off before midnight shifts. So this is apparently this is a new rule.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that might change. Yeah.
So he'll get a break, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Olivia. Appreciate it.
Thanks from light moderate turbulence in the Bay Area there for about 142.
Just chatter. Man. I tell you, a good representation is in the what was the Sully movie? Was it just called Sully? I don't remember.
Oh God, what was it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Sully.
They do. They have a lot of scenes going back to air traffic control.
Yes.
And the guy trying to find out what's going on and the various safety precautions they have to take, and it's
they go through it extensively.
And they immediately take that guy, the main air traffic controller, and they go and drug test him immediately.
Yeah.
Right after the incident because they can be just as liable for a disaster as well.
In the movie Flight, they kind of dive in deeply to that stuff as well.
Tom is an air traffic controller in Philadelphia. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey.
You guys rock.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How long you been doing that job?
14 years and 10 years as a civilian, and I guess 5 years here in Philly.
Okay. All right. So, question: did you hear me mention that there are these new rules that are in effect as far as you having to take a break between shifts?
I didn't have to hear you mention it. Everybody at work's talking about it. But
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Is this a good thing, or how's it being received by you guys?
It's a good thing anytime you can get a little more rest in between shifts. We do a schedule now where you'll work 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., go home, and then go back to work at 10 p.m. and work until 6 a.m.
Okay, yeah, that seems a little taxing. So, have you as an air traffic controller, if you start to feel that you are not on your game, if you feel sluggish, can you go to your overseer, your manager, or for whatever the term is, and say, "I don't think I'm in, I'm up to snuff. I need to leave." Will they let you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can take sick leave, which management can't deny that. So if you say, I'm not feeling good, or I'm feeling tired, I couldn't sleep last night, your supervisor will work with you. Nobody wants to put anybody in an unsafe situation.
Sure.
The number one goal in this job really is, aside from safety, is to not end up on the news. So.
Yes, not end up on the news is a good credo.
Tom, is it a stressful job for you?
Any job is stressful, and then you get used to it, and the stress level goes down. So it is stressful. There's a lot of responsibility, but the longer you do it and the more you do it, the less stressful it gets, I think. But it's an interesting job. It's different every day. It's not like a normal office job. It's fun. It's a great career. I'm happy that I got
Sure.
into it.
To the best of your knowledge, how does Philadelphia rack up against other airports and their air traffic control scenarios?
Well, we're not as busy as New York,
but
we're busier than a lot of places, and it's unique here. I don't know if you guys noticed that we have runways that cross each other. So you have, one guy landing from east to west, and then right after him, another guy landing north to south.
Yep.
Right.
And we've got a lot of talent that makes that happen every day.
I just had a situation, Preston, sorry, just jumping quickly, and I've had it happen twice here, Tom, where the landing had to be aborted because the last time the gentleman said there was another jet landing, or it already landed, and they had to pull out of it. So how often does that happen?
I don't want to say it's common, but it happens more often than people know. With the wind, can screw up a lot of things sometimes. So you think the situation's going to work out, and then one aircraft gets pushed a little faster due to the wind, and it doesn't end up working out. Obviously, when we send somebody around like it's called a go around, and it happens at a safe distance. It's not like you're 5 feet off the ground. You're probably still 300 feet off the ground, and normally a mile, maybe more, away from the runway when it happens.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if it was Kathy who said her friend got two planes close together. For us, it's 3 miles is the distance that we need to keep these aircraft apart. So sometimes if somebody says, "Oh, I got too close together," that's 2.5 miles.
Right, right.
But now when you're going at 300 or 400 or 500 miles an hour, that's not a lot of space, but it's not like you hear people say, oh, they got too close together. It's not like it's 20 feet or anything.
Right.
It's not like their wings were touching.
Yeah.
Right.
Tom,
which would be adorable.
Tom, is the money halfway decent?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. I hope so. It should be.
Seriously.
Keep you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a ton of overtime. I mean, obviously, I guess you guys read about the shortages or whatever. So we have the opportunity to do a lot of overtime, and that makes the compensation even better.
Yeah, I was just reading that they had a goal last year of hiring 1,500 controllers, and they're on track to hire 1,800 more by the end of this year because there's a decades-long shortage of air traffic controllers. It's a priority.
Preston, though, does the overtime eat? And I mean, if you're trying to provide more rest breaks for these guys, the overtime that runs contrary to it, right? I mean, now
that's why they're trying to hire more people. Yeah. So
well, you can't work more than 6 days, so you'll always guaranteed at least 1 day off a week.
Okay. All right.
Tom, do you fly free?
I wish. That'd be great.
Hey, the flight attendants, they do, obviously, because they work for the airline. I know, I get it, but he's taking care of all the airlines.
Yeah, I think you should be able to take whatever plane you want anytime you want.
Go for a ride.
No, we can't fly for free. We can't own stocks or invest in any of the airlines or aircraft equipment manufacturers. They wouldn't want us to show preferential treatment. Like if I don't know, got nicer seats on Delta, they wouldn't want me to let all the Delta guys go first.
Right.
I see.
Okay.
Hey, Tom, how many controller towers are there at Philly International?
There's one tower. The other two you see over by 95, those are American Airlines. They're the ramp towers.
Okay.
They get everybody from the taxiway to the gate and from the gate to the taxiway, and then we take them, out to the runway and also, from the air.
Is there one on the other side by the the UPS planes and all that stuff?
Yes, there's one over there. It's like the crappiest looking one. That's where we work.
That's where you work?
That's where we work.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's from the 80s. The ones over there on the terminal side, I think they're from the early 2000s, but they're owned by American Airlines. The FAA tower is over
that's the one that says keep on trucking.
I thought that was you guys. I didn't know you were in the Bobo box over there across the way. Wow.
No, yeah, that's us.
Okay.
Tom, who is your employer? And also, have you ever been to any other airports that you're a little envious of?
I work for we all work for the Federal Aviation Administration.
Okay.
So it's a government position. And I've been to a few airports. I don't know. They're all, with the government, they're all okay. None of them are like, wow, this is really great.
Yeah.
We just got a remodel in our radar room. It's just been remodeled. So that's, looks actually really nice. That looks all brand new, but the tower is still kind of wood grain and dusty.
Do the planes always take off and land in the same directions?
No, it depends which way the wind's blowing. So the runways here, the primary runways are east to west. And I don't know, I guess when they build the airport, I'm not sure. They do a study about where the wind comes from mostly. And so we'll either be departing, most of the time, 90% of the time, we're departing and landing towards the west. And then normally when it's bad weather, the wind is switched the other way. So we'll be landing and departing towards the east. So when you see them landing, and they're coming from Center City past the stadiums and then they land, that's pointing directly west.
Okay.
And if they're going the other way, that's east.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you, Tom.
A lot of information.
Appreciate the call, bud.
Yeah, man.
All right, we'll see you. Bye-bye.
I just heard the wind was the gods sighing. So he...
Is that what we heard?
Yeah, that's what I heard. But he's saying no.
Guess not.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. They're going to be, they're putting in these new restrictions. So you get some time. All right, what?
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Let me see here. What else we got? I got some other stream of consciousness nerd. How about this? I don't buy this. Okay,
No?
so there's a new report from the U.S. Department of Energy, which about which states have the longest commutes. And here's the part that I don't believe. The average commute time across the country is 27 minutes away. That sounds short, doesn't it?
Well,
maybe outside of cities. I mean, we talk to so many people who have really long commutes, and part of the reason why we talk to them in the first place is that they maybe listen to the show and they talk about, the fact that their long commute is made a little bit better by the fact that they get to listen to us, which is super nice.
Right. Well, I guess it all depends. There's people who have a short drive and people who have a long drive.
Well, more and more people that I know, they will base where they live on their commute. And if it's a longer commute, they either change jobs or change where they live.
So when we got our home, and now we've been in it for almost 7 years, it was totally predicated on proximity to this very building.
Absolutely.
So that's part of the deal. But yeah, I could maybe in the long run, I could see it, as you said, Preston, evening out that way, 27 minutes. It seems that a lot of people that we talk to in the morning have a longer commute than just 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's because my kids are so busy these days, and I've been out and about, like driving on the highways at like 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night. I couldn't imagine having to drive on the Blue Route or 422 or 76 every single day
during rush hour.
During rush hour,
forget it. I listen. I have more than paid my traffic jam rush hour dues over the course. Just living in New York for the years that I did would do that. Then when I was doing stand up, getting stuck in every traffic jam in every state around the country, but you forget. And then sometimes during vacation, you'll end out going out in the regular morning rush, and you're like, God bless anyone who has to deal with this on a daily basis.
There was a stretch where my dad was living in Paoli and commuting to Mount Holly every day, and he would have to take the PA Turnpike and then the Jersey Turnpike, and it became dangerous because he got so fatigued, especially on the drive home, that he would fall asleep or come close to falling asleep while driving. And
horrible.
And obviously, he's not alone in that. A lot of people have to deal with that on a daily basis.
Yeah, we got an easy way to skip that commute. Just get up at 4 and go to work.
Sure, yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
You're never tired.
All you have to do.
So Pennsylvania kind of is smack in the middle of it. We rank 14th. And I don't mean we're smack in the middle of the study, but we're at the average. 27 minutes is the average commute in Pennsylvania. That's the entire state.
Okay.
We've talked about long commutes here, and there are people. Obviously, there are people who will take the train up to Manhattan, or there's all sorts of different ways to commute.
I was with a woman this weekend who travels from like the Doylestown area into New York City. Not every day. She's only there a few days a week. But yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at here's people who are texting at hour and a half commute. This person has a 12-minute commute. Isn't that nice? So Delaware ranks 20th. On the list.
Okay.
And New Jersey is number 3.
Number 3. That's probably northern New Jersey.
Longest commute. It's got to be.
Yeah.
But it's the whole state altogether has the longest commute. New York has the longest commute. The average in New York, 33.2 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
That's the state. Now, New York City would be a different story, probably.
When I was working in Garden City, leaving from Brentwood, Long Island, Preston, I would go miles out of my way to avoid traffic. I would literally. So there was the the causeway. So I'd drive out towards the beach, basically off of Southern State Parkway. Drive along that road. It would, and many times I would do better time taking that entirely circuitous route. And it just, my sanity alone, it just wears you down.
Hey, Kath.
Psychological torture.
Kath, you have the traffic report in front of you now. What is the traffic heavier going into New Jersey or out of New Jersey at this time of day?
Into New Jersey.
Are more people leaving the state of New Jersey or entering the state of New Jersey?
No, like leaving, you mean over like the bridges? Like coming in? No, coming into Philadelphia.
Coming into Philadelphia. All right. So, and then it'll be the opposite of that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, that's why then when COVID hit and people found that they could work remotely.
Yeah.
My God, is that you can be so much more productive if you save that, 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
Driving here and there, and you can actually put that into work or just hanging out or whatever it is. Huge difference. Mentally, that's going to help you out as well.
Sure, yeah.
So, kind of interesting. All right. I know we got to take a break here in a second. Maybe I have
the stream of consciousness there.
Super fast one.
Super fast one.
This was from last week. Hundreds of young dancers in white tutus and tightly coiffed hair gathered in New York's Plaza Hotel last Wednesday to break the world record for dancing on point in one place. These are ballerinas.
Oh, so they were pirouetting?
Yes. Well, they weren't pirouetting. They were doing a different move. The spectacle was organized by the Youth America Grand Prix, a ballet scholarship program that's celebrating its 25th anniversary, with 3 nights of performances at the Lincoln Center. So Tchaikovsky music played as the ballerinas stood on tiptoes and switched their weight rapidly from one foot to the other, a step called a bourrée.
Yeah, okay, I've seen that. Yes,
it's full minute.
Looks so painful.
Yes,
can't do
it
that.
does.
Oh my God, no! I never understood.
Imagine
the
standing on your toes that way.
point dancing. No,
in those ballet shoes, is there a flat?
It's wood.
It's wood.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Wait a
it's
second. So where's the wood?
in the
tip.
toe.
At the toe.
Oh.
Yeah, because they stand up on the tips of their toes.
Okay.
I don't know how you can do that.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
painful.
Okay, it's cardboard and glue, not wood or metal.
I thought it was steel tip in case you're working on a construction site.
Cardboard and glue. Okay.
Densely packed layers of fabric, cardboard, and glue.
You know those work site ballet slippers.
So Tina Shih, the Guinness World Records, announced the results. 353 people doing that is a new Guinness World Record. So, did you ever take ballet, Kath, as a little kid or
Yeah, as a
anything
kid,
like that?
yeah, but I never did with the point, whatever it's called, the point ballet shoes.
When it's done, but the real deal people,
It's pretty amazing.
it is incredible.
Yeah.
the strength they have to move like that, and obviously the coordination to do it all in time is incredible.
There's a classic movie based on, I think it's a Hans Christian Andersen story called The Red Shoes. It's it's considered a masterpiece, but it gets into the world of ballet and dancing and the intricacies, and it's pretty amazing.
By the way, you mentioned pirouette. What technically is a pirouette? What is that?
It's the
move?
Carlton.
No, it's not. It's not the Carlton.
A pirouette is, I believe, when you spin.
It's spinning.
Spinning on one foot. Yeah.
Okay, on one foot.
I believe so.
Okay. I was curious because all these moves have different names, and we hear we hear pirouette, but I don't know exactly what that move is.
What's the extended out arm extended out with the leg back?
Oh, yeah.
What's a plie?
The plie is the feet together and the legs go out.
Okay. That's how Marissa stands. Marissa stands in the, and she knows it. She's nodding her head.
Is like what? Show me, Case.
This is, and just in regular conversation, you'll look down and Marissa will just be standing.
Like a duck, feet out?
Yes.
Like this?
And she
her
will.
heels touching and her toes facing out away from her body.
So that you can do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. You just did it, Steve.
And then you'll see her every now and then. She'll crouch a little bit or.
Marissa, did you take ballet?
I did.
Oh.
I did. I took all sorts of dance.
Is this why you do this?
I think it's just like ADD. I think it's just another part of my body moving so that I can focus on whatever's happening. And Kathy, I stand like a ballerina, not a duck.
Just looks like a duck.
One of my best friends from college is named Stu, and his daughter became the lead ballet dancer for the Pennsylvania Ballet for the Nutcracker.
Wow. Well, that is an honor.
I don't know if we ever talked to her. I think maybe we talked about talking to her.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, Steve, it's super impressive.
Yes.
And look, I mean, we were lucky in Philadelphia to have the Philadelphia Orchestra, but the Pennsylvania Ballet is world class, and she was top of the top and was able to do the lead in the freaking Nutcracker, man.
Wow. I see these movements and I think, and listen, and this is not any sort of kinky thing, but I would love to see a practiced ballerina take a dump.
Oh, jeez.
Dude.
Why?
Well, look at that. Look at the leg spread, standing.
Wow.
Right?
No.
Think about it.
No.
Surely I'm not the first person to think about it.
I think you are.
I have a photo. We're gonna look the other way.
All right.
I have a photo which I'm gonna show to our YouTube audience right now if you're watching, and tell me if this isn't adorbs.
Oh my God.
This is Marissa.
Oh, last week.
Little ballerina. Look at that.
Oh,
How far
she
did
got
you
bangs?
How far did you go?
Yeah, Marissa, how long did you do ballet?
I think that's the end of my
That
career.
was-
I was maybe 6. And then I got really into gymnastics.
Okay. That's right. I remember you did. Mention that you were a gymnast. For a while.
That's the progression of any little girl. You usually start with dance, and then you tell your parents you hate it, and then you want to go to gymnastics, and then you start drinking.
Then you find out it's too hard.
When does the horse period come in?
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
yeah.
A little older.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was a little older, Steve.
And then you have to make a choice, Kathy, because horseback riding is really expensive.
Yeah. And then horse ballet is incredibly expensive.
All right. Well, listen, we have to take a break. I know there's another. Hang on. There's another picture.
She's so
This is Marissa as a genie.
Well, we danced to Walk Like an Egyptian.
Can you still do it, Marissa?
Oh, all I remember is the hands back and forth. The do 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 do.
Well, listen, we got to break because Mike Post is scheduled for 9, and we need to break and wrap up the stream of consciousness. Sir, can I get a little bit of the? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
All right. Thank you for joining us for the Stream of Consciousness, Ner. When we return, we are going to have, like I said, the grand champion of all things television theme songs, Mr. Mike Post.
Yes.
His resume is so incredibly impressive. We're going to talk to him when we return. Stay with us.
WMMR.
All right, thanks, Kath. Our next guest, and you, if you've listened to our show for many years, and you know our admiration for composers. We have many people that we're friends with, and we have them on the air, and we love to talk music. And our next guest is the undisputed heavyweight champion, especially of television theme shows.
He's a cornerstone of formative years of my life.
And you have sung his songs. A lot of times you're not singing words. You may just be going, beep, beep, boo, dee, boo. That's my Doogie Howser, by the way, if you did not know that. Or as I was singing in my head earlier this morning, I will stop embarrassing myself and I will play some actual music actually to bring him on, because let me just give the rundown and then we're going to talk, because he does have new music out to talk about. The new album is called Message from the Mountains and Echoes of the Delta, but you know him as a composer of shows, theme songs like Rockford Files, Hill Street Blues, LA Law, Law and Order, Greatest American Hero, The A-Team, Bob Black Sheep, Kathy Blossom, Doogie Howser, Quantum Leap, Hardcastle McCormick. We're like, what do we bring him on with? We need something exciting. So we're going to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very excited to welcome Mr. Mike Post to our show this morning. Mike, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to meet you, Preston.
And wonderful to have you on our show. And I'm sorry if I butchered some of your most cherished melodies with I'm not a singer, so I did what I could.
You know what? As long as you enjoyed them, I don't care how well you sing.
I've got to say it's an honor, Mike, to talk to you, because I kid you not, and I've told this story many times on air. I had a Dodge Dart. I got my first cassette player, and I got the Mike Post TV theme songs, and I drove around cranking that thing. And I remember there used to be sort of a backlash before people understood. You don't understand. These are brilliant compositions, and you were obviously had been enjoying a successful career at the time, but I think over time people have begun to appreciate people who do the soundtracks for TV and movies. Hans Zimmer and Jerry Goldsmith and John Williams and people such as yourself as composers, as holding up that end of the musical experience for so many people. And that's what makes your new project, this album, Messages from the Mountain and Echoes of the Delta, it seems like it's something you've been working towards all your career. Would it be safe to say that?
Yeah, I've never thought of it that way, honestly. With this, making music for television is kind of the same as making music for film. So we're all in sort of one community. Basically, we look at pictures without music and somehow a jukebox starts playing in our head. This particular project, what happened here, it was probably percolating and brewing my whole life, because I started out as a folkie, and so I'm fairly authentic as a bluegrass guy, and then I played a lot of blues in my life, and so I think of myself as authentic as a blues appreciator for sure. And now, delving into the idea of melding both blues and bluegrass with orchestral music was what this really is. And the reason it happened was COVID put my shows on ice for 6 months, and I had nothing to do. So
I was born of that. It's funny. Yeah. A friend of the show, Michael Giacchino, he did something similar. He released Travelogue Volume 1, which was sort of an expression for him. It seems like almost the exact same scenario gave birth to that. So with your life and as prolific as you've been, it had to be just frustrating to have everything stalled, and this is your outlet.
Well, honestly, when it first struck, I went, oh, man, I'm going to get a vacation that isn't, from May to September, which is usually when I'm back in Philly with my wife's family. And, this was like, okay, a vacation when I'm not supposed to have a vacation. But then after about a week, I got restless and went, well, what are you going to do? You got to do something. You can't. And Giacchino, good friend of mine too. All of us, we're sort of stuck in our lane of like, okay, it's time to go to work. They got a film or a TV show for us to do. But the truth is, music's music, and we're all in the band, so we're gonna play.
Well, I listened to a lot of it last night, and I love the sound, and I love soundtracks. I love music of this nature, and not that it's a soundtrack. I guess you could say it for people who, and I don't even know what that classification means. It's just it seems story told through music, and the melding of the styles, and it has a uniquely American, if I'm saying that right, sound to it. And it also, to me, it put me in mind of kind of an Aaron Copland kind of thing, that the hope of this country. It is a story of immigrants, correct?
Yeah, it is exactly that. It didn't start out that way, but I'm for sure, a product of this country and a product of what I've heard. And it, the more that it sort of grew and blossomed, and the more it did that, the more it became in the line. Listen, I grew up on Rodeo and in Copland and Dvorak and the New World Symphony, and how to me that was sort of the discovery of rock and roll, to me, and jazz and bluegrass and all the rest. It's informed me musically my whole life. That kind of music,
Mike, how often does it happen that you have an intention with a direction on a piece of music and it ends up being something completely different by the time you're done with it?
Daily.
Yeah, daily.
Be a minute. Michael McDonald was right, minute by minute. It's like, it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. I've been doing this my entire, 79 years I've been on this earth. I've been playing music for 75 of it or 74 of it. Yeah. And, and I'm technically pretty strong. Oh, I know everything about it. I don't know a thing. Honest to God, it's magic. Anybody that tells you that, oh, it's so intentional and it's so this, yeah, it starts out that way, but then it just goes crazy, especially the more players you add, the more ideas come out, the more it takes on a life of its own. It's a weird way to make a living because, you're supposed to know everything about it, and none of us know nothing. It's just magic.
Where did you think you were going to go with music when you began, as opposed to where you ended up? Did you think you were going to be a folk star, a performer, and then it led you down a different path?
Yeah, honest to God, I sort of, looking back on it, if you will, I was in the hallway of the music rehearsal building at any college or university or community college. You walk down the hallway and there's all these little doors and there's these rooms where guys are, people are practicing, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, my goal was always the same. I just wanted to make an honorable living, like the way I was raised. Your word's everything. Be an upright, kind of straight arrow guy, and make a living doing music. What did that mean? Well, if you're working in a club, that's good. If you're part of the studio scene, the way I was here in LA, young. Oh my God, that's fantastic. If you get a shot at, playing Stadium Rock, okay. So if it's down to repairing instruments or teaching or whatever, I get to do music and I get to make a decent living at it. Home run.
Well, you are a heavy hitter in every sense of the word. I'm a massive fan. Preston and I are huge fans of this documentary, The Wrecking Crew, about this incredible collection of musicians. You were part of this crew. You're very self-effacing, and you say you were lower rung on that group. But you had, I think your idol is Tommy Tedesco, correct? One
of them. Yeah. Tommy helped me a lot. He big brothered me, but so did Glenn Campbell, and so did a lot of guys. And just to be mentioned in that group of gunfighters, because that's really what we are. We walked into studios every day, sometimes 3 and 4 times a day, sat down, and they dropped music in front of us that we'd never heard. Rehearse? Are you kidding me? Let's go. You look at it, you listen to it once, and we come up with a hit lick, and next session 3 hours later. So.
It's something that I keep trying to spread the message to people, and Preston and I are get the word out about this. You need to understand just what an accomplished, insanely talented group of people.
Oh man,
that you guys were, and lady, who were all part of this, and yet. I was reading an interview with you where you said you decided early that was kind of more where you like to be behind the scenes a bit more. And then Dolly Parton once said something about your career. What did she say to you?
Oh, she said, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. She goes, I was out to dinner with her and a guy that I went to grammar school, junior high, and high school with named Tom Selleck, right? And they were... Our dinner was getting interrupted, every 12 seconds with somebody that wanted a picture, an autograph or something, that's the route that goes with the territory of their territory. And after a while, they just started laughing, and they just looked at me, and both of them are kind of smirking and, just being wise asses. And so Dolly says, you're the luckiest guy on the face of the earth. You got all the good parts and none of the bad parts. And it's true. It's really true. I haven't, when Dolly walks out on stage and the light hits her, the most magical stuff happens. These people are different than I am. They just shine when they're being watched by an audience. They blow up. I blow up in the studio. I blow up when I'm sitting alone at night, in front of my piano or playing guitar by myself. And I'm made for the job I'm at, which is, it's not that I hate performing. I don't. It's just that I love being in a studio and making music.
There's a blessing to knowing what you enjoy and really assessing what you are. What you're dialed in for, and then if you can find that out early, then that can be everything to you, because your missteps are less because you're guided by that.
Well, Dolly wasn't wrong. I'm so fortunate. I grew up in LA, so I didn't have to come from West Philly. I didn't have to. I didn't have to come from Des Moines. I was already here. I played on my first hit record when I was 19. And I produced my first hit when I was 21 and won my first Grammy when I was 24 and became music director of the Andy Williams Show that year as well. And so it was like I sort of hit the ground running, and doors just opened up in that hallway that I never could have predicted. I never could have dreamed this. I never did dream this. it just happened. And I was, I'm proud of some of the stuff that I've accomplished. I'm proud of the fact that I've never whiffed. Every 7,200 hours of television, and I've never missed a day of work. I never let a producer down. The guys that I worked for all were my dear friends, and they seemed to be happy with me.
Mike, when I was a kid, Greatest American Hero was sort of one of my favorite early TV shows. I was 6 or 7 when it came out, and I loved the theme song, which you composed. And then when I was a teenager, or maybe in college, it showed up again in my life on George Costanza's Answering Machine. And I'm curious as to whether or not you made any money off of the Seinfeld airing of the Greatest American Hero theme.
Let me think about that. Hell yes. They better pay me. I mean, come on.
You were telling a story about I guess it was Stephen J. Cannell, who is a genius and a producer of so many shows, of Rockford Files, for example, and he did something kind of wild, which I thought was cool. He kind of came to you and this is true, Mike. You're very humble, but so. A lot of the heat on those shows, and the people may not remember this, your theme songs became hits, were being played on the air in rotation.
Yep.
And so Cannell came to you and said, you're a substantial part of this show. What he made you an offer that was unheard of at the time. Could you illuminate us on that?
Yeah, he, at the time, and if he were alive today, he'd still be my best friend. So, we're hanging together, do a lot of stuff together, businesses outside of music and TV together. So one day the phone rings, and he had just gone out on his own. He was originally signed to Universal, and then he went out on his own and created this company that he became the deficit financer, and so blah, blah, blah. So the phone rings, Candle on the phone, okay. Hey, what's going on? What are you doing? I'm working. What do you need? He goes, I just looked at the budgets, and this is completely wrong. Completely wrong. I said, okay. I'm thinking, what, am I overcharging or something? and he I'm getting wealthy and you're underpaid. I went, oh, get off the phone. I got to go to work. Don't bug me with this baloney. He goes, no, I'm serious. You're my best friend and you are way underpaid. I said, nobody died and left you the keys to the kingdom. You don't get to say all the time, I'm making good money. He said, just come up with another figure and another way to do this because you're not getting paid enough. And I went, you're an idiot. And I called him the next day and I said, okay, here's what to do. Just give me the whole budget for the music and I'll be I'll do what you're doing in the film side, being a deficit financer. I'll manage the music budget. And he goes, well, wait a second. I don't want you to take those kind of risks. What if I don't like what you did? I said, when's the last time that happened? And he said, yeah, maybe you're right. And honestly, the idea of packaging the music had not been done in television. And so honestly, that's how I got financially stable, shall we say.
I mean, it had not happened before. And you were again, and we're talking about Message from the Mountains and Echoes of the Delta, which is this project, which is phenomenal. You introduced electric guitars. I think it was Cannell, I was reading, always said you always wanted to infuse rock and roll into that. And that not had been the norm on TV themes before that. How hard did you have to fight to infuse new sort of sounds, more rock elements into your compositions?
There was no fight at all. Honest to God, what I did was so simple, Steve. There was Mancini. Mancini was the guy that came in saying, I'm going to do music that they're going to walk out humming. So, obviously Peter Gunn, Mr. Lucky, Tiffany's, the guy was just tuneful, right? And he took those little tunes and then the entire score reflected those tunes. So I myself and my late partner, Pete Carpenter, I said, let's just do what Mancini did. Let's make little 1-minute hit records, and then let's reflect those melodies in the score. Because, indeed, yeah, I've done well with theme songs, but I've done the score for every one of those 7,200 hours of episodes. So that's my real job, and let's just reflect the theme and all the underscores. So Well, that's what we did. But look at my background. My background is a rock and roll, piano and guitar player. So what's my sensibilities as opposed to jazz and big band stuff that Mancini came out of? So I just carried on a matrix that he had established, and I did it coming from where I came from. Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Jerry Lee, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
All bluegrass and blues, and that's reflected in this project that you plugged so nicely this morning. Thank you for
I do want to tell you that the theme song for The Greatest American Hero was the sole reason why I quit football back in, I think it was 1981. And my older brother played football, and I had to play with him. And I'm playing with all these kids that are 3 years older than me, and I got hit so hard that I went flying like 5-10 yards. And the big thing about Greatest American Hero is that he didn't know how to land.
That's right.
So every time I came to football practice after that, they all sang that theme song to me as I was coming onto the field, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I quit football.
Casey,
yeah,
you don't know this, but you're talking to a little high school linebacker as well.
Yeah,
okay? And I kept showing up on the gig on Friday nights, taped up or splinted up or something. I'm 5'8" and 170 pounds, and finally, I'm trying to play piano with a splint on my finger and my wrist wrapped up. And the leader says to me, he says, "Are you any good at football?" I said, "Well, I lettered in the 10th grade. That's pretty good." He goes, "Yeah, but are you any good at it?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, not really." And he goes, "Well, you're really a good piano player. You're really good in this rock and roll band, but you keep coming, stitched up or taped up or something." I think it's music, not football. Well, here you are on the radio, man.
Yeah.
Sage advice, yeah.
And I want to ask, because that theme song had lyrics to it, Blossom had lyrics to it. Some of your other theme songs don't have lyrics to it, but in your mind, do they like Hill Street Blues? Does that have any lyrics in your mind?
So Bochco calls me up maybe in the first season at Hill Street, and the record wasn't out yet as a hit, but the show was well received, and so was the music. And Bochco goes, "Hey, I came up with a lyric for Hill Street Blues." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, Hill Street Jews, everybody's got them Hill Street Jews." Of course, Bochco and I are Jewish. Oh, thank you very much, and I hung up.
That's great. Your songs are like, and Casey's right, but they're characters in the show. I mean, in these shows, they're iconic, and so I was listening to like Bochco and all the producers that you've worked with talking about how they just give you a nugget, and I thought the Preston is a percussionist. When Bochco came to you with NYPD Blue, which is one of my favorite themes. Everything you do has something that is, there are multiple things that work. And I think of it sets the tone so well. Explain how you came up with that theme, because you said that, stuff is accidental, but you also recount stories where something just clicked and you got it immediately. So how did you arrive at that percussive sound for NYPD Blue?
Well, first of all, thanks for the compliment, because, that's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to come up with these 1-minute little hit records that define the show. Okay. It's like, I want those guys that I work for to walk out going, if I could write music, that's exactly what I would have done. So on this, we'd hit a big home run with Hill Street Blues, a big home run with Doogie and with LA Law. So they send me the script for NY, and I just love the script. I'm so excited. I just can't wait to go to work. So Bochco and the director, Greg Hobbit, they want to have lunch with me. Okay, great. So we go meet at a restaurant, and they don't say anything. And I'm just, we're talking about who's having a whitefish and who's having, steak sandwich. I'm going, are they going to say anything? So finally I go, "Guys, we're here about the music. We got to get going. What are you thinking?" And Bochco says, "Well, I've been thinking about drums." I went, "What?" He goes, "Yeah. Has there ever been a theme that was just drums?" I said, "No, there's the start to to Hawaii 5-0. You know, I said, but there's there's never been a theme with just drums. What? That's crazy. He goes, well, that's all I was thinking about. And I went, what? He said, yeah, that's all I got to say. How's your food? I go, my food's fine. Now, so I turned to Hoblet, and I go, okay, what do you have to say? Now, these are the two biggest guys in television at the time. They are phenomenally successful and well thought of and very well hardwired with Emmys, right? And so Hoblet says, well, I've been thinking about subways. I went, holy moly, these guys have lost it. What do you mean subways? Well, if you think of it, if you think about New York, the sort of the system, the circulation system, the veins, the arteries are really the subways. I said, okay, you two geniuses, drums and subway. That's what I'm going to walk away with? I went, yeah. And I, honest to God, like a bolt of lightning, I went, I know exactly what to do. I said, you know what, you guys are breaking my balls here. Guess what? I know what to do. And I went, well, we thought you would. And so I went back to my studio and in Burbank, and I started out with a guy that was working with me at the time who's gone on to become a great composer named Danny Lux. And, we came up with that. I took the sound of the drum fill in the air tonight on the Phil Collins record. I went, we got to beat that tom-tom sound, because that was one of my favorite licks ever.
Yeah.
But boom, that lick. So I said, let's beat that, and I'm going to make a groove out of the sound of a train on a track. So subway and drums.
You did.
Yeah, I did. And I must say, the middle section would not have been the middle section without my wife, because my wife is from West Philly. Her last name is McGettigan. She comes from a big Irish family that's near and dear to my heart, and that's why I got up at 5 a.m. and talked to you, because I love the town that you guys work in. Honestly, it's fantastic. Have this big family back there, and I had always been into Irish music anyway, and I thought, well, what do all these police guys in New York City have in common historically? And the fact is that when the NYPD first started in the late 1800s, they were all Irish. So I thought, I'm going to do a middle section with some heart in it, and it's going to be Irish, So there it is,
Well, all of it in your stuff always has that, like, for example, and we have to talk about, your Dick Wolf Association and, all of the Law and Order stuff. That middle section, the clarinet, all that stuff. I don't know. It's almost like dialogue that you're writing, or a story that's being told, and I can sit there. So many shows these days just have a theme song or a little bump or something quickly, and there's nothing that sets the tone the way a really good theme song does. Now, Preston was pointing out, like on some of the serial, the streaming shows, you'll get a bit more of a theme, but. Let's talk about L.A. Law, because, of all of this vast body of celebrated work that you've done, is it possible that'll be the most? Is that dun-dun going to be on your tombstone?
Hey, before we say that, is it possible for me to get up early every day and be on your show every day? Right? You guys make me feel great. Honest to God, and
Well, it's from the heart, and we really are huge fans.
Well, thank you very much. Next time Patty and I are in Philly, I'm going to come by and hang with you.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So Dick Wolf, he's hysterical. I met him on the 7th and 8th year of Hill Street. He was a writer, and I just liked him, and I thought he was super talented, and we became friendly. And so the deal on Law and Order is crazy. He calls me up and says, hey, can I tell you a story? I said, sure. He said, well, let's meet for a drink. So we sit down. I said, what's up? What are you thinking about? And he said, the hour cop and law and medical dramas, they're not syndicating worth a damn. They're just not doing well. It's all Cosby and Full House and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, I know. And he said, so the first half hour, I'm going to do the crime and the cops and the perpetrator. And the second half hour, I'm going to do the prosecution and the defense and the judge and the trial. I go, I'm not tracking. What are you talking about? So I'm going to shoot it as an hour, but I'm going to syndicate it in half hours. And I went, man, never been done. That's so smart. God almighty. He said, yeah, I'm going to do it all in New York City. I said, what are you going to call this thing? He said, Law and Order. I went, man, that's a great idea. I'm in. He goes, no, I don't know what my budget is. I don't know what it can pay you. And you're the number one guy out there right now. And it would really help me if you're involved, but I can't ask you to do it because I don't know. I said, shut up. I'm in. Let me in, please. Do me a favor. He said, okay, great. I said, all right, so what's the music like? He said, well, let me send you a script. Sends me a script. I read it. I love it. I go, okay, what's the music about? Give me some marching orders. He goes, well, I'm doing it all in New York. It's like, steam coming out of manhole covers, some slick streets, nighttime, a little rainy, blah, blah, blah. But it's also the majesty of the law. And I went, oh, okay. He said, more than anything, write some music that defines New York City. I said, I hate to break the news to you, but there was this guy named George Gershwin. He did that. Yep. He already did that. Okay, so Rhapsody in Blue, I'm not going to be able to run and gun with him. He's better than me. Okay, so I can't really do that. He goes, well, that's what I need. I go, okay, you want me to do New York City? Great. So I come up with this little, and I start messing around with this new guitar I had. I'm snapping the strings, back. And I kind of like the A section. I thought, well, but he wants me to find New York City, wants me to step up with George Gershwin. Oh, well, I've got to use a clarinet. I mean, at least I'll do that, so that's how the middle section comes in. And so I put the whole thing together, and he comes over and he listens to it. He goes, man, that's it. That's it. Don't change a note. And I went, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
We're just tuning in. Mike Post is joining us. Nick, you had a question?
Yeah, well, first of all, Mike, I wanted to...
wait.
Go ahead.
Nick, I have to tell you guys, it was never syndicated in half hours.
That's what shocked me. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
It was always been a 1 hour. It's always been that.
It was still a change, though. I mean, nobody had really done that before in that format, and it obviously was revolutionary and successful for 3 decades at this point.
Completely the most successful franchise in the history of TV.
I mean, who doesn't know the dun dun? Yeah. The scene change sound.
Yep.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Mike, I wanted to first of all thank Mary Kay McGettigan, your niece, because she used to work here at the radio station, and she was the bridge to get you on the show. So shout out to Mary Kay and all of the McGettigans here in Philadelphia. I think there's 4,000 of them. But I wanted to ask you, there's a lot of great iconic themes that you've come up with, and some of them have been married to fantastic television shows like Hill Street Blues, and for me, Doogie Howser was great. What is your favorite theme that ended up on a TV show that maybe kind of flew under the radar or wasn't received as well as some of the others?
I probably the answer is Bay City Blues, another Bochco show.
Yeah.
That and I'm not plugging, but it was completely Americana because it was a short-lived show with Dennis Franz and Sharon Stone, her first TV thing, and it was really good. It was really well done about minor league baseball, and so it was a very Americana theme, and for some reason, the show didn't catch on, the network didn't hang with it long enough, or
I dug that show. Yeah, I used to enjoy that show a lot, and
me too.
Yeah,
me too. I love doing that show, but you know what? Listen, what makes it and doesn't make it, it's doing my thing is almost as hard as doing radio, you guys. It's like the book comes out and you go, our ratings are up. Well, we didn't do anything different. Our ratings are down. We didn't do anything different.
Yeah, don't we know it? Yeah.
I know you know it. But believe me, it's, all of us on the creative side, what do you do for a living? Well, I walk on this wire way up high, and there's all these razor blades down below if I slip and fall. It's like if they don't like the stuff, it hurts. That's art. If you do art for a living, you're emotionally it's a risky business for sure. So I have nothing to do with whether these shows make it or not. So Dolly was right. I am the luckiest guy in the world. Cannell and Bochco and Dick Wolf, those guys don't suck. Those guys are really good at their jobs, and if they think I'm good at my job and I'm happy as I could be, that's, I'm blessed.
Mike, I want to ask a specific question about, matching a theme to a show, because, you mentioned Law and Order and getting the feel of New York City. And you take a song like Magnum PI. It's very action oriented. It fits with the imagery. Blossom is playful and fun. But you take Hill Street Blues. You take a show that's a hard hitting drama about crime on the street of New York City and all the things that come with it. Yet it is a very pleasant sounding. Very enjoyable melody that goes with this. It's almost counter to the TV show itself. Yeah. How does that work? How did you, it's such a great, iconic theme song, but yet it does match the show, even though the show is harder hitting than that.
Well, honest to God, Preston, it is magic. Yeah. Okay, it's these little tiny decisions that you don't think are going to be important. And looking back, you go, the show stays on 9 years and everybody goes, yeah, I couldn't imagine that opening being any different. And it was a simple little thing. I saw the pilot without any main title in it, and I was blown away. 1981, and that thing was so different than anything that had ever been on TV. Mm-hmm. It was just jaw-dropping. It was so impactful and so funny, for minutes, and then bang, so real and crazy and terrifying, or exhilarating, and it was just up and down so violently, and then so sweetly and kindly and so crazy. Belker the Biter, come on,
yes, yeah.
Who comes up with stuff like that? At any rate, so. We go up to Bochco's office, and I'm going, anybody got any ideas of what the music is? And I don't know. And I said, well, what am I looking at on the screen during the main title sequence? And Hoblet, great director, says, well, I'm thinking the door goes up on a garage, and a prowl car comes out and cruises through South Bronx, burned out, Detroit. It's any town in the Midwest, East Coast. And it cruises through rainy, crappy weather, and it's just depressing. I went, okay. And Bochco, Bochco goes, what does that sound like? I said, well, maybe Stevie Wonder, Clavinet, Summer in the City. I don't know. I don't know what that's. And Bochco says, well, what else could you do? That's all he said. What else could you do? And I don't know. I just said, well, you could go against the picture. You could do something poignant. You could do something that kind of makes you nod your head and go, man, in this episode, people died, babies were born, there's hope, and there's depression. And he goes, yeah, do that. And I went, I was living at the time, 3 minutes away from the studio we were at in Studio City, and I walked in, and I was immediately in E flat, and I went, I went, God, that's pretty good. I love it. Honest. And so it took about 30 minutes, and I called Bochco up. I said, you better come over here. He goes, no, I don't want something out of a trunk that you did, some other. No, I don't have a trunk. I don't do that. I don't recycle anything. I just did it. So he walks in, him and Hoblet, and I go, clank, 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 clank. He goes, do that again. He goes, yeah, that's my show.
Wow.
We're done.
It's amazing. It's friggin' amazing. Mike,
wow.
So from that, and so from you as the creator to me, when I hear that, it's funny to hear you say that, because I always kind of assign an emotion to the music. It's a natural inclination. And I would hear the Hill Street Blues theme, and it always because I have brothers in law enforcement, and I would always hear in my mind, well, here it is. This is it. This is what we got. As you said, babies are born, people are shot. This is it. We got to go do this job. And there's going to be some good, there's going to be some wins and some losses, and that's it. And that's what captures that. It captures that so beautifully.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I one of the most just sweetest, kindest, like fan letter I ever got that made me feel great was of a widow of a cop that got killed in the line of duty. And she wrote me this letter, and she goes, you know, I bought your record, the record length version of Hill Street Blues. And she said, it got me through the last year. I'm about a year out from my husband getting killed. Wow. And she goes, I just listened to it and cried and listened to it and cried. And it really got me through it. I went, man, it's hard to relate to that, but it just, if you write something that somebody feels that way about, I don't need anything more than that. That's pretty good.
Wow. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so.
Well, listen, Mike, we do have to wrap, and I think we've only scratched the surface. So clearly you have to come by and visit us when you come to Philadelphia next time. We want to remind people that his new album is called Message from the Mountains and Echoes of the Delta. It's a bluegrass meets blues with some orchestral tendrils within there.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's available pretty much wherever you get your music. You can also go to mike-post.com for more information. But man, it's been so nice. We're huge fans, and we just have tremendous respect for you. And we'd love to have you by here sometime if you get some a moment when you're in Philly.
Absolutely, 100% for sure. I will come by and see you guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for everything. We appreciate it. Mike Post. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, friggin' Mike Post. You know, again, you don't even know stuff that you listen to that's his.
I know. And not only just the themes, the score to these shows.
If we could scare up at some point, I know we have to maybe play it later, but NYPD Blue theme, Preston, it's Law and Order.
Oh, that's Law and Order.
But yeah, I think, again, listening to his stuff last night and listening to it just in preparation for this, that's such a great friggin' theme.
All right, we do have to break because we got money to give away. Yes, we have good money. It'll be along shortly. But Mike freaking Post was just on with us. That was so cool. We'll be right back. Stay with us, friends.
Preston and Steve. It's time for a Good Money It keyword.
All right, the word is fortune. F-O-R-T-U-N-E. Fortune. F-O-R-T-U-N-E. And you have until 15 minutes after the hour to enter it. 3 ways to do that. Enter it at WMMR.com. You can do it through the MMR app, or you can text it to the special contest short code number, which is 45911. And one random entry wins $1,000 in a company-wide contest. Each winner gets called from Beasley. Make sure you answer your phone. Contest rules at WMMR.com. Sponsored by McLaughlin Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. The word again is fortune, F-O-R-T-U-N-E. Enter it now. We have our final look at traffic. Let's see what's up. Kathy, what you got?
Still have jam traffic on the Blue Route northbound 95 to Baltimore Pike southbound side from McDade Boulevard to 95. You're slow there. 95 southbound at the Commodore Barry Bridge. Disabled vehicle off to the shoulder. You're slow back to the Blue Route. They do have a tow truck on the scene. Police are on the scene as well, so they should get that out of there shortly. Schuylkill eastbound jams the Boulevard into the Vine. Westbound Bear Avenue to Girard. The Vine westbound heavy the lane 95 to the Schuylkill. And then in New Jersey, looks like we've cleared out on 42 and 55, 295 southbound. Still jams 168 to the 42 freeway. And then the AC Expressway eastbound at Williamstown, right lane construction causing jam traffic. This traffic report brought to you.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
Brought to you this morning by Hangry Bear Creamery in Kennett Square. Looking for a new kind of experience? Book an ice cream making studio session.
Ooh.
To make your own custom flavor for your next birthday, team building, or group gathering. You can book now at Hangry Bear Creamery. All right, we got to keep this a little bit tight because we have another guest joining us in just a little bit. But I'm going to go with this one out of North Carolina. A disturbing scene was caught on camera Tuesday afternoon. A group of people pulling bear cubs out of a tree near an apartment complex so they could take selfies with them.
I saw this.
God.
These morons.
What do you know when there are bear cubs around?
Yep, usually mama. In a video, the group can be seen pulling the cubs from a tree, then holding one of the bears and taking a selfie with it.
Here, let me take it for you.
One of the individuals can be seen in the video dropping the cub, followed by the cub running and trying to get back over the fence.
Aww.
Ashley Hobbs with the Wildlife Resource Commission said that the video was reported to the commission and authorities were called in to intervene.
Holy mama!
The office, she said, did ask me to assist him in responding to that, so I did get on site and I saw the cub. She described the cub as being very wet and cold and had been alone for quite some time. While multiple cubs are seen in the video, Hobbs said when she arrived on scene, there was only one. She added that it's not uncommon during this time of year for a female to drop their cubs off in a safe tree and then come back for them.
The bear.
She expressed how it's pretty traumatic for a cub to be pulled out of a tree like that. Thankfully, the bear was okay and is currently in a rehab facility. Will eventually
Was a drug addict?
Be released back into the wild. But what a group of idiots! God. All right. An elderly couple, this is disturbing. An elderly couple in Australia are believed to have been killed by a ram at their rural West Auckland property.
You don't hear about that often.
No, the pair were found dead in their paddock by their son, who went looking for them after he hadn't heard from them.
Why was he keeping his parents in the paddock?
No, he wasn't. That's where the ram was kept.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dean Burrell said that his mother's sister and her husband, who were the ones who died, he said the couple were both in their early 80s, retired, and had lived at the property for 8 years.
If you're in your 80s, having a ram is probably not the best of ideas?
The ram was shot by police, and police believe the man went out to check on the ram and did not return. His wife later went out to check, and she did not return. I don't have any other details other than that.
I think even a playful ram at 80 plus years is going to be a threat.
I don't know. Yeah, so it was.
Are they
killed him? I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. This happened at Universal Studios. A tram accident happened, injuring 15 people Saturday night. So one of those back lot trams that we rode on.
They're awesome.
Yeah, Los Angeles County Fire Department units were dispatched to the theme park shortly after 9 p.m. The victims were taken to an area hospital. They had minor injuries. The details of the accident.
And through the magic of Hollywood, you believe they were injured.
Were not immediately available. The California Highway Patrol is going to lead the investigation. So I don't know if
Did that look real to you guys?
I don't know if they had another tram or what.
Some more of the actors here at Universal Studios. Keep it quiet.
15 people hurt. This was interesting. One female iguana was recently removed from a Miami resort swimming pool after laying more than 24 eggs on its water slide.
Slut.
Michael Ronquillo of the Humane Iguana Control said a local resort contacted us after finding an iguana inside a water slide jet, likely using it as a spot to lay its eggs. Upon our arrival, the iguana escaped, leaving behind 30 eggs in the swimming pool. We've placed calls about iguanas nesting in unusual places like pools, under artificial turf, and cars.
How big are iguana eggs?
They seem to be about the size, maybe a little bit smaller than regular chicken eggs.
Wow.
Breeding season for iguanas is typically from February through March in South Florida, with many of the reptiles getting more and more creative with their nesting selections in the human world. Approaching these reptiles in the wild can have serious consequences. They said directly addressing iguanas can pose bodily harm and health risks due to their sharp nails, teeth, and tail whips.
Yes.
That reach speeds of 30 miles an hour.
You ever see them attack an owner with their tail?
We were just talking about that a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Ronquillo also said iguanas can carry ticks, mites, and salmonella. So you need to stay away.
Steve, speaking of eggs, I watched a video last night on my Instagram. It was just this grandmom. She was cracking eggs, and I guess somebody wanted to play a joke on her, and they gave one of the eggs was a wooden egg.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. This was the funniest thing this lady had ever seen in her entire life. I swear to God, she was screaming at the top of her lungs at how funny she thought it was that there was a wooden egg in this.
That was it.
Oh, my. I got to get you the audio of this. It's hilarious.
One last story. So in Indiana, 34-year-old Sarah Harris found out the hard way that calling the cops when the meth you just purchased proved to be inferior isn't the best idea. A probable cause affidavit says Harris called 911 twice, which prompted an officer to visit her residence as a wellness check. While speaking to the police, Captain Harris allegedly said that the meth she'd purchased, quote, wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Well, get right on this, ma'am.
And that it left her feeling as if she was going to have a heart attack.
How was the heroin? Was that good?
Harris also allegedly requested the meth be tested, and she was willing to turn in the person who sold it to her. She now is facing a Class 6 felony charge, which could end up with her serving 30 months in jail. And that is what I have in the bizarre file for you this morning. All right, you got about 3 minutes left to enter the word fortune. That is our MMR Good Money It keyword. So the word is fortune, Fortune. Make sure you enter that now. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Trash, music, news, that stuff is on the way. And the CEO of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Mr. Greg Harris, will be joining us because the inductees have been announced. We'll be right back.
Preston and Steve.
Thank you. The Offspring is going to be there. It's going to be Saturday, September 21st, Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. The tickets, they are on sale now. Not only The Offspring, but Hailstorm, Nothing More, The Warning, POD, Silvertide, Sleep Theory, Vocal Shots Artist, Jersey Calling, Side Stage, all that stuff. But get those tickets well in advance right now and join us for that event. We would hate for you to miss out on it. All right, we're going to give... What am I doing here?
What are you doing?
Well, I'm putting... All my papers are getting messed up together here. All right. We're going to do today's lesson question. And we are going to give away, let me see here, a $50 Manhattan Bagel gift card. If you can answer this correctly. What was on MJB's invite for Victoria Beckham's 50th birthday party? 215-263 WMMR. Let's see if you know the answer. What was on MJB's invite for Victoria Beckham's 50th birthday party? 215-263 WMMR. If you know, call now, and we'll do the trash while you're calling in.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
Brought to you this morning by Horizon Services. Dust, pollen, dander, they're in the air, and Horizon Services can help avoid costly breakdowns and clear away allergens. Schedule an AC tune-up now, and they'll also schedule a free fall tune-up. Look at horizonservices.com/WMMR. What's up this morning, Steve?
Well, O.J. Simpson's Bank of America card is hitting the auction block and is expected to rake in some serious cash. Amazingly, Simpson's card actually provided points back for every decapitation.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
New Doctor Who Nakuti Gatwa saying that black actors have to perform flawlessly to get love, while, quote, white mediocrity is loved by the masses. Clearly, Nakuti has never seen the reviews for Biodome. And finally, after revealing she can't poop without company, Tori Spelling admitting she once peed into a kid's diaper while stuck in traffic. Spelling then went on to reveal that she conditions her hair with vomit and gargles with snot.
Oh my God.
All right, we need an answer. We need someone to answer the phone and get an answer to today's lesson question, which is, what was on MJB's invite for Victoria Beckham's 50th birthday party? 215-263 WMMR. All right, we got Zane. We'll go to him. Hi, Zane. Good morning.
Good morning, it.
Good morning to see you, Zane. What was on MJB's invite for Victoria Beckham's 50th birthday party?
That would be semen.
Yeah, it was gross. Yeah, it was really gross. Hang on. We're going to give you a $50 Manhattan Bagel gift card. You can try the new French toast egg sandwich, French toast gourmet bagel, French cracked egg, fresh cracked egg, not a French cracked egg. Sausage, bacon, cheddar, honey, almond, cream cheese, and a drizzle of syrup. And you can get 20% off your first online order at manhattanbagel.com.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
All right.
Holy mama.
Music news brought to you by A.D. Moyer Lumber, trusted expert since 1939. A.D. Moyer Lumber is your professional source for decks, windows, doors, kitchens, millwork, and more. You can visit them on the web at admoyer.com. Well, they were announced last night. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees during American Idol. Ryan Seacrest and Lionel Richie brought you the list, but we've got somebody even more important than that to talk about this, because he is El Presidente, the CEO the head honcho of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we like to call him friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Harris is joining us once again. Good morning, Greg.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for that generous intro. I've been listening in the green room here. You guys are really getting rammy. You've been up for a while, and
yes.
it's getting a little.
Yeah, that's the way we are.
It's a Monday,
We're very
man.
rammy.
Yeah, a little rammy. So listen, Greg, we're looking at you via Zoom. Are you at the Rock Hall right now? Are you at home, or where are you that you're checking in from?
I'm inside the pyramid at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio.
Awesome. Well, listen, so this was interesting, the way the announcement was made last night with American Idol. That's the first time anything like that's happened, right?
Yeah, it was on prime time, live on ABC, and they got rolled out by Hall of Fame inductee Lionel Richie, announced the new class. And one of the reasons is we're broadcasting the ceremony this year, once again on ABC. It'll be an edited show, and it's going to stream on Disney Plus as well as be on Hulu. So they're a partner, and with a partner, you want to work together, and they rolled it out prime time to the world.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to run down the list here, and we'll chat a little bit about the inductees in the performer category. Mary J. Blige.
Yes.
Cher. Dave Matthews Band. Foreigner made it in.
Yes.
Birthday Boy Peter Frampton.
Excellent.
Kool and the Gang. Ozzy Osbourne, and A Tribe Called Quest are all going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the class of 2024, which is pretty wild. Now, Dave Matthews Band, that was the fan-based vote, correct, Greg?
Yeah, they always do well in the fan vote. They have a ton of followers, and it's really terrific. Now, to be clear, the fans do not select who goes in. There's a whole nother voting body that does it, and but this year of the fan vote, 7 of the top 8 are being inducted.
Wow.
And
there we go. Yeah.
It just worked out that way. And in addition to, you name the performers category that are going in, there's also some special committees that put in artist and industry people as well. And they put in a number of folks, and it's called an award, but they're being inducted. They'll be in the Hall of Fame as well, and they're equal to the performers.
And are these the Musical Excellence Award people that you refer to?
Yes.
Okay, so we have on that list Jimmy Buffett.
Well, yes.
And
I like that.
Recently lost him, of course. MC5. The great Dionne Warwick is getting in, and Norman Whitfield. Now, Norman Whitfield, I don't know who that is by name. Who is that, Greg?
Very, very instrumental guy with Motown. Pretty much all the Temptation stuff. He wrote a bunch of the songs, produced them, worked hand in hand on a lot of things with Berry Gordy and with Smokey Robinson and all the Motown folks. And he's finally being recognized. Just incredible. If you hear the lead into Ain't Too Proud to Beg or Ball of Confusion or any of those songs, that's Norman Whitfield.
Wow. Well, then certainly well deserved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, and then there's a couple of other categories. The Musical Influence Award. What exactly is that, Greg?
That's artists that, again, influenced others, and frequently it's those that had come before, and maybe their influence is now felt and reverberating even more. In this category, we've got Big Mama Thornton, the original godmother of rock and roll, Alexis Corner, and John Mayall, 2 of UK blues, early 60s, very, very powerful blues performers that then influenced. Eric Clapton was in John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and a bunch of other artists have been there. He's still making music today, by the way. Wow. And it's a chance to recognize them for their influence.
Love it.
Greg, I've been a Dave Matthews Band fan for a long, long time, 30 years or so at this point, and I've seen them many times over the years. I know it's less than 24 hours since the announcements were made, but any indication as to whether or not Boy Tinsley, who is no longer in the band, will be invited to the ceremony?
Right now I don't have the list in front of me of all of the artists and that are all of the band members that are included. So I'm going to hold off on that, but we'll find out. And I'm sorry, I'm not evading it. I just am not entirely sure. And I have a feeling that he is included. As for being invited to the ceremony, that's all up to I think the bands and others. And it's a great chance for bands to all come together again. There's been moments in our induction ceremony, speaking of Eric Clapton, when Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Jack Bruce had not performed together in 24 years. They got inducted, they rehearsed, they played, and it was magic. We see that all the time where different eras of bands come together and celebrate the induction together in our ceremony.
Greg, when you guys will, obviously, before you release the information to the public, you guys will know who the inductees are going to be. Do you immediately start kicking around wish list scenarios of how the ceremony is going to go and the performances and kind of have maybe a basic idea of what might take place?
Yeah, there's always inspiration in the show producers. It's Joel Perisman and John Sykes, the chairman and president of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation, and Joel Gallen, who's the show producer. They look for ways to combine yesterday and today and surprise people and bring out really powerful moments. For instance, when the Foo Fighters were inducted a couple years ago, Paul McCartney did their induction, and then they jammed together. Yeah. You sort of connect yesterday and today, and sometimes it's like that Linda Ronstadt moment from a few years ago, where you had Linda was unable to perform, so it was Bonnie Raitt, it was Stevie Nicks, Sheryl Crow, Emmylou Harris, Carrie Underwood, all together singing in tribute to her.
Yeah.
It's
sort of incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing. What's sort of interesting is that, obviously every year there's a little bit of controversy that's courted with people in and out. And this actually seems, reaction-wise, just seeing online, I don't see a lot of fires erupting. I think everyone is pretty comfortable with this selection. Are you sensing that as well?
Yeah, there's a little something for everyone here. It's a broad net, and I think that there's a lot of celebrating. A number of these artists people thought were already inducted, and this really formalizes it. But it's an amazing class. It's an amazing group, and yeah, I think there's a little less than you get in some years, but we welcome that. It means people care,
right?
And it's okay. It's really been terrific, and we're so excited.
To that point, the new Milli Vanilli Award. No.
Hey, well, we've been checking. Boyd Tinsley will be inducted with the band. I just took a peek at my band rundown notes. So
good.
To your earlier question, they were all, he'll be part of that group, of course.
Well, that's kind of breaking news, and I'm glad to hear that. The band wouldn't be what they are now if not for Boyd's contributions over the first 20 plus years or so. And I'm a personal fan of his, and I understand why he's not in the band right now. But I'm really glad to hear that. Thanks for sharing that, Greg.
Yep. No, my pleasure. What we do is we put a list of those, the artists that will be in. It's at our website at rockhall.com. And you can see when you go look at the Dave Matthews Band, he's included, and wonderful that he's being recognized.
And one award we left out was the Ahmet Ertegun Award, and who is receiving that this year?
It's Susan DePass, and this is another Motown person. It sort of rounds out that Motown culture. Suzanne was at the label. She's the one that signed the Jackson 5. Really got very involved in their early music and producing them, as well as Motown's 25th anniversary specials and other monumental things. And she went on to an amazing career in entertainment, real strong female executive that's done great. And so having Norman Whitfield and Suzanne DePass going in together is very fitting.
It's pretty amazing.
So the ceremony is going to be on October 19th. Is it taking place there in Cleveland?
It is. It's in Cleveland, Ohio at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and we'll get ticket information out over the next couple weeks. But hold that date. It's a Saturday. I always say it. Come on out. Use our radio studio. Do some remotes. Yeah. And have some fun out here in Cleveland.
We really want to do that at some point. And
yes.
Things have not lent themselves to it, but it's definitely on our radar, something that we want to do.
Yeah. Most definitely. And as far as the inductors, the people that are doing the inducting of
inductification.
The inductifications, if you would, please. Has any of that been announced yet? Or I would imagine not yet, right?
Not yet. We're getting a little ahead of things right now. We're celebrating and announcing who's getting in. And then in the months ahead, we'll announce who's doing that work. And there's going to be some surprises as always, that will be day of the show, but it's always a great chance to connect yesterday and today and celebrate it.
It's one of my favorite things of that whole ceremony, or the people that not only will do the inductions, but the collective jams that'll happen, and the current musicians playing some of their favorite music from from the people who are receiving the award. It just promotes all this awesomeness that is my favorite thing about those telecasts.
And I feel like the live music scene has just exploded exponentially over the last few decades. We just had Coachella not that long ago. Like, Coachella didn't exist, 20 years ago. And you being in this industry, it's got to be so exciting to see the newest innovations. And I'm talking now specifically about what Phish did at the Sphere this past weekend. Did you see any of the footage of their 4 shows at the Sphere?
I did not, but I was lucky enough to catch U2 out there, and it was stunning. It was remarkable, and anybody has a chance to go, I'm sure it's terrific. And I have friends like all of us that were out there for Phish, and many of them didn't just go to one show; they went to all 4.
Yeah. I had tickets for the Friday and Saturday night shows, and then just unfortunately planning got in the way, and I wasn't able to go. But my best friend went with another guy, and so I watched from my couch on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and it was unreal, and I was just so excited for what the future holds for all of us as music fans and as live music fans specifically.
Well, there's a magic to live music, and I walked into the Sphere a bit of a skeptic, and I left a believer. Now, to bring it back, we'll be doing this live show on October 19th here in Cleveland, and the inductions are always off the charts. It will be stacked with talent, and these artists that we're celebrating today, each of them will be recognized as part of the ceremony, and then it's going to be broadcast to everybody around the world, thanks to our friends at Disney Plus and Hulu and ABC.
You don't have a Sphere, but you could probably rent an overhead projector.
Yeah.
Which might be kind of...
I like some slide projectors and an overhead projector and a little bit of some crayons.
Yeah, maybe a microfiche.
Greg, anything to mention at the hall that's going on now? Any special shows or that we can expect between now and the induction ceremonies?
Absolutely. We have live music all summer long. We've got some big shows. All Time Low is playing, Sleater Kenny is playing, and a few others. And go to rockhall.com for that. We have an incredible exhibit open right now that's called Revolutionary Women in Music. It's essentially from South Jersey's own Patti Smith to the present, sort of real strong female rockers that we're celebrating. And the museum is open and just cranking. Cool. Fire up the Oldsmobile, get on the Pennsylvania Turnpike and come down and see us.
Excellent.
All my pals on 72nd Street keep threatening to come out, but they never quite make it. So,
all right. Well, we're going to make good on our threat too. All right, Greg, great to talk to you, man. Congratulations on another great year, and we'll see you soon. Okay.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.
Same to you, Greg Harris. Hey. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Absolutely. I didn't know Patti Smith was from South Jersey.
Yeah.
I don't know what area of South Jersey.
Oh.
She's actually Snooki's aunt.
What? Snooki's aunt?
Snooki is she's from Staten Island.
Oh. That's what she says.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, one more piece of music news, which is what we're in right now. Greg jumping in there. Damon Albarn hinted that it might be Blur's last gig that they just played at Coachella. The frontman made the announcement while introducing the group's last song, Tender, during the second weekend of Coachella, saying, "In the spirit of clarity and truth, this is probably our last gig." And he also aired a grievance with the quiet crowd during their rendition of Girls and Boys, saying, "You're never seeing us again, so you might as well effing sing it." You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
The announcement follows
someone seems upset.
Albarn's previous statement in December about the band going on hiatus, and definitely due to the strain it has placed on him.
Guess who stinks? You.
But they're not gone just yet. Flash forward to later this year, and a new documentary and concert film will be released that follows Blur's 2023 escapades. The project will include the making of their first album in 8 years, The Ballad of Darren, along with their 2 giant Wembley Stadium shows. And that's all I have. Music news for you this morning. We have one final break that we'll take. We'll come back in a second. We'll get the letter of the day for the Word of the Week prize. Stay with us. Seven Mary 3, 93.3 WMMR. Everything rocks. Conversation. 10:50 and a Monday morning with the Preston and Steve Show. Coming to an end of a very exciting program today. We enjoyed every last bit of it. We had a bunch of stuff that was going on, including a couple of guests that we really enjoyed speaking with. Number one, Mr. Mike Post.
Yes!
The famous and super nice, worldly known good guy.
Worldly known good guy.
His contribution to music and television is voluminous, and he was saying that not only all those theme songs that he wrote, he's like, not only that I didn't just do the theme song. He's like, my real work was scoring the TV show, like all those musical interludes,
7,200 hours
for all of these. Shows from Magnum P.I. to Rockford Files to Law and Order to Blossom, Doogie Howser.
Friggin' Blossom.
On and on. And he was a super nice guy and wants to come by here and see us because his wife's family is from Philadelphia.
Wish we could, we'll see, but wouldn't it be great to have like a little electric piano or something here?
And him write a Preston and Steve Show theme song. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
We can do that. Real quick, I have a phone call. I want to go to Matt, who's on the line. Hi there, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Preston. You guys rock.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for calling in. And you're calling for what reason?
I was just minding my own business, and Beasley called me, told me I won $1,000.
Just minding his own business.
His own beeswax.
And he wins $1,000. That's phenomenal. Excellent. Matt, how long you been listening to MMR and the Preston and Steve Show and all that stuff?
Before 2005, around Y100 days.
You go back.
Thank you, sir. We do appreciate that. Where are you from, Matt?
Warriorsford.
Rofo. Oh, excellent. Well, listen, won't take you very long to get here to pick up your check for I don't know how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
We'll get you $1,000 however we get it to you. But listen, man, what's that?
I'll take my wife to a nice dinner at McDonald's or something like that.
Yes. Absolutely. Wherever you choose.
Extra fries.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, Matt, you rock. Thanks for listening, bud. We appreciate it.
You too, guys. Have a good one.
There you go, Matt. Hey. How about that? Another $1,000 winner. Hang on a second. I'm going back to the Xfinity mobile guest line, and I'm going to go to Jen. Hi, Jen. How you doing?
I am doing so well.
Oh, my God. You sound like you have a little spring in your step. Why is that?
I do. I just won $1,000.
What? So our first one was from the 8 o'clock hour, and Jen won rather 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And $1,000.
You had $2,000 to give away?
We do every day. Every day.
Well,
we
you do, but I mean, never mind.
That's all good. Jen, where are you from?
I'm from Norristown.
From Norristown. Excellent. And how long have you been listening to MMR?
Since you guys started on MMR.
Oh,
very nice.
We appreciate it. What do you do for a living, Jen?
I work for a marketing firm out in Paoli or Chesterbrook area.
Okay, sure. Chesterbrook. Supposed to be the number one place in the country to live in Chesterbrook.
Oh, yes.
And you work there. Excellent. Well, listen, it's a little thank you that we like to pass along from the staff here at MMR for listening to us. And we were going to give you $1,000. So congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. I'm going to treat my friends to dinner.
Nice. Love it. All right, nice job. There goes Jen.
Yeah.
We just had 2 winners right in a row. I love that. And your chances of winning keep on happening all day long. This gentleman to my left is going to have your next opportunity.
That's right. And if Beauregard Beasley calls you, you answer that phone.
Is it Beauregard who's on the phone?
Beauregard Beeswax Beasley is one of the many families. There's a lot of family members, and they all have names that begin with B. There's Betty, there's Beauregard, there's Brad, and Anna
Caroline.
Bonnie. There's Caroline and Bruce and Beryl Beasley and Bonnie Beasley. There's a lot of them. And at any rate, and they've got dough to give to you.
That they do.
And we want to facilitate that.
Excellent. Well, that next chance is coming up at noon, I believe, with you.
Right. And again at 3 with me and Brent, and then at 5 just with Brent.
Love it. Shall we get a letter from you?
Yes.
Here we go.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter.
All right, and the Preston and Steve Show is brought to you today by the letter
M as in money.
All right, perfect. And we're going to give away as a prize for the Word of the Week prize, a pair of tickets and a hotel room for the night as MMR rocks Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Wow. Saturday, May 4th at Hard Rock, live at Estes Arena, Atlantic City. Plus, you get passes to join Jackie Bam Bam for a meet and greet with Motley Crue.
Wow.
Jackie's also going to be hosting a pre-party, that night at the Hard Rock. and he's going to be giving away signed guitar and drum head as well. This is in Atlantic City, and tickets are on sale now for both cruise shows that weekend, May 3rd and 4th, via Ticketmaster. So hang on tight. We will give that away on Friday. Got some stuff planned for today?
Yes. In addition to the money opportunities, there will be workforce blocks of Prince, Metallica, Offspring, and a really cool vinyl cut. Peter Frampton's birthday is today, and I believe we have the big song on vinyl. Do you feel like we do? It's so amazing. Great. Like 12 minutes long, 13 minutes long. It's perfect.
All right, let me thank our sponsors. Preston and Steve Show brought to you today by Dunkin'. Preston and Steve Show runs on Dunkin'. Also brought to you by Acme Markets Fresh Foods. Local flavors. Tomorrow, a couple guests on the show. Rodney and Erica McLeod are stopping by. And we will have number one, Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek Next Generation.
That's right, yes.
Oh, my God. He's also
Commander
directed a number of the episodes and was in Picard, as Steve well knows.
Season 3.
Oh, my God.
What a mofo.
Yeah, so we'll talk to him.
Wow.
It'll be great. That is it. We are done. Rage on. Have yourself a fantastic day. Wow. And we'll see you tomorrow, gang. Bye-bye.
Preston and Steve on